everybody. Welcome back. It is time. Tessa, it is time.
What time
for
is it?
The podcast. It's podcast time.
Adventure time?
It's the podcast time. It's time for hours of gaming news. And this week, I swear to God, it's going to be less of a bummer than last week. Last week, we just had a lot of like layoffs and bummer stories. This week, we have some more exciting stuff. So fewer bummers.
Fewer bums?
Fewer bums. So welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff.
I'm Tessa.
Tessa, I think the last time you were on, we were very focused on like a Nintendo Direct or something. We had like one specific thing that we were looking at.
Yeah, I want to say at the time there was some video game that came out and people were were getting uppity about it being woke because it was like appealing to queer people.
Yep.
And I was like, and I think the thing I said that I think infuriated at least one commenter on your YouTube was, not everything's made for you.
Well.
You know? And it happens.
Oh boy!
Yeah, that was a fun one.
I don't know if we're gonna wade into that discourse this week.
But
we'll see. We'll see what happens. Before though we get to that, I was gonna say. So last time I think we were relatively like focused. This time, all over the place.
Oh,
we got the potpourri. We throw the bones, the gaming news bones, and we're just looking at them. We're interpreting them for everybody out there. We're pulling gamer tarot cards, and we're just doing a reading. And it's always bad. That's spoiler alert. You do industry news, it's mostly bad these days.
Depressing.
But before,
you said no bums.
some bums. Some bums.
Just some side cheek.
It's like when you get the you get the death card, but that's not necessarily bad, right?
If it's upright, it's fine. If it's inverted, it means death.
Oh, okay. I should know better
like
than to make tarot references.
I don't know.
Before, though, we get to that, I always like to start by saying, what have you been watching? What have you been playing? What have you been doing? You got anything cool to tell the people about? I go first if you want to think about it, because I watched like 5 horror movies, and I'm not going to talk about any of them on this show, because they were all... Yeah. And I'm tired of having media takes where I'm just like, it was fine, I guess. I didn't die from watching it.
I went to Fantastic Fest and saw a bunch of stuff.
Oh, cool. What'd you see that you really liked?
I was telling you before, I saw Totally Killer, which you watched.
Yes.
And then I got to see the first 2 episodes of Fall the House of Usher, which was fucking banging.
I just finished the 2nd episode myself.
Oh my God. Do not eat pizza while watching that episode.
I think this is one of those Tessa and Jeff have the same brain episodes of RageSelect.
Yeah. Do not eat pizza while watching episode 2 of the Fall House of Usher.
Yep.
Let's see. I also saw Saltburn, which is directed by the gal who did Promising Young Woman. Saltburn was quite good.
Okay.
The premise is basically like an Ivy League school. You follow this kind of nerdy kid who, bit of a social outcast, maybe not well-to-do, makes friends with this rich dude, and basically gets a crush on his best friend, and ends up staying with his very rich friend at his fucking castle mansion. What the fuck?
Say what?
Yeah, for like a holiday weekend, and then
it's that guy,
and it kind of just goes from there. But yeah, Saltburn was woof. It was good and crazy.
I feel like this guy, he always gets cast as like some kind of murder man.
I can't remember his name at the top of my head. I haven't seen a lot of things.
Barry Keoghan? I'm sorry.
I think he's Irish.
Keoghan?
It's Keogan. Anyways,
he was in the Batman.
Oh, shit.
He was in Eternals. He was one of the Eternals in Eternals.
That's what I know him
He was
from.
in Dunkirk.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Saltburn was very good.
Okay.
There was I think it was a Spanish horror film that I really liked. It was a different take on the possession story.
Oh.
It was called Evil Lurks.
Where evil lurks? When evil lurks.
Oh, okay.
It's called
When Evil Lurks. It was a really interesting take on the possession mythos.
Yes.
It was good.
The thing is that I found, I think that one of the things that people should know about is if you go to Metacritic, you can take any of the categories, you can go like best of the year. And I do that a lot of times for video games, just to be like, let me go back to 2021. I'm looking for something I haven't played yet, or like we got to fill in something.
Sure.
But what I found this week was with movies, you could do it, but you can actually choose subcategories. You can just choose like 2023 best horror movie, best movies, horror.
Yeah.
And this is like number 2 on the list.
It's
and
good.
I was going to watch it, or I wanted to watch it, and then I was like, it's in the movie theaters. I gotta leave the house. What is this?
Yeah, you gotta leave the house.
But it was good.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be on Shudder on the 27th. So
yeah, I recommend it. It's there's a lot of what the fuck.
All the reviews I read for it said it was like it gets going and then it just doesn't fucking, like, it just keeps kind of like one up and one up and one up and one up.
Kinda, yeah. Like you think like, oh, that's the oh shit moment. No, there's another one. So yeah, that one was pretty cool. But basically, When Evil Lurks is about this a small town, and it's like a village. What's even smaller than like a village? Like a hovel, I don't know. Anyways, very, very tiny town, and there is a young man who has basically become, quote unquote, like accursed or whatever.
Okay.
And he's kind of swelled up and looks like that dude in Seven who had to eat his own stomach. Like he's just all bloated up, and he's covered in bed sores and pustules and just nasty.
Okay.
So he's been, quote unquote, cursed or possessed, and there's apparently rules on how you deal with them, and you know, they lay down some rule sets that are kind of new.
I need to make sure those villagers don't come after I've eaten Taco Bell. They might mistake me for be like,
And
oh no.
Oh, he's a cursed one.
Well, I tell you what, we before we get to the news though, you did mention the fall House of Usher on Netflix.
Oh god, so good.
It was funny because I think I kind of knew from the trailers like what to expect, but it seems like they've created the House of Usher as this like huge family. It's basically Succession. Like it's like this huge family full of rich douchebags that are all doing different things, and then like each episode kind of follows like, or at least the second episode. The first episode I think was more setup than anything else.
Yeah.
But then it seems like all of the episodes past that, each one of them is named after a specific Poe story. And I went back after I finished the second one, which is After the Mask of the Red Death, and I went back and like not read, but I just read like a synopsis to refresh myself of like what happened in the Mask of the Red Death, and it was like, oh, okay, I see. So I'm getting the impression that all of this is going to be like modern takes on Poe stories, because each episode is named after a specific Poe story, and I'm like, oh boy, and I can't wait to find out what's going on with that weird lady who is awesome and she looks really cool. So
yeah, what is she, a witch? What's going on?
Yeah, I've got my suspicions. I've got my suspicions. How are you? I don't know. I guess you should never assume, especially with people younger than you. Have you gone through? Did you go through a Poe phase? You read all of them?
Not all of them, but quite a few. I've read a few of them. So I've read some of the classics, but not all of them.
Okay. I went back today and just like read through The Raven, and I was
they're all
just like,
classics, but anyways.
Yeah, that's a fun poem.
Yeah,
I'm not a big poetry guy, but I like that one because it just keeps kind of bouncing around. So, yeah, so go watch that on Netflix. Actually, there's you know what? There's another thing. Netflix is not the greatest if you don't have it. Whatever, right? But like 3 weeks ago, I was talking about The Wonderful World of Henry Sugar, which is Benedict Cumberbatch, Ralph Fiennes, Ben Kingsley, Richard
that's a hell of a cast.
Adeomi, the guy from the IT Crowd.
Yeah, I love him. Moss.
Yeah, and it's a Roald Dahl story. Filmed by Wes Anderson, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's all twee, like when the people are like reading a story, so they'll say their lines and then turn to the camera and said Henry Sugar as he walked into the ballroom of the blah blah blah, you know, like, and then like all the sets are like weird play sets where they're like kind of coming in from the sides, from the wings and stuff. And so I watched it. It was a 39-minute short. It was good, but what I didn't realize was that he did 3 more, and they're not. You have to know to look for them on Netflix because Netflix fucking sucks at showing you what they've done, what they've paid people to do.
They just buried it.
Yeah, there's 3 more 17-minute shorts. They've all got the same actors in them. Like Ray Fiennes, basically, in all of them plays like the Roald Dahl narrator character. So I watched the second one called The Swan. But if you search for Wes Anderson on Netflix, you'll find there's the other 3 are 17 minutes apiece. So you can literally watch all 4 of them in like less time than it would take to watch a movie. But
That sounds fun.
yeah, Netflix actually doing something that I liked. It was weird.
What?
Yeah, it was very strange. It was very weird.
I mean, I like a fair amount of Netflix stuff, but whatever.
Yeah.
I know you're a bit more of a hard sell.
Yeah, I did find out they put a whole second piece of this really over-the-top anime that I like on there, but I haven't got a chance to watch it yet. So, anywho,
I've been watching the new season of Spy Family.
Oh yeah, it started up last
2.
week.
Yeah.
I save my animes for Friday, so if something comes out on Saturday, I always have to wait a whole week for it to come out. But I can't wait. I love it.
And ooting.
Yes. Wow. So you were the person that is actually watching Spy Family.
Yep.
Poking people with the Spy Family stick. I'm like, go watch it.
Go watch Spy Family.
Go watch it.
It's precious.
It's so heartwarming that I can't goddamn stand it.
It's heartwarming, but there's also murder.
Yes. And like sexy
and
assassins.
espionage. Yeah, sexy assassons.
And weird brothers of sexy assassins.
Yeah.
And weird assistants of spies. I think I don't know that I've been as entertained as I was.
Talking about Frankie or the handler?
No, I'm talking about the white-haired lady.
Oh, Fiona?
Yeah. The whole tennis thing.
That tennis episode was a lot of fun.
Tennis arc was great. And then the way that it ends, I was just like, yay!
Yeah, so Spy Family is a lot of fun.
Yep.
It puts a smile on Jeff's face.
It does. It does. I'll tell you what else puts a smile on my face.
What?
Is when people who make bad financial decisions get their comeuppance.
Oh, God, love to see it.
So, I honestly, if you had asked me this, because this started like a month ago, like 5 weeks ago, if you'd asked me if this was going to be the outcome of this story, I would have said no. Without further ado.
Did you invest in MoviePass, Jeff? What'd you do?
Oh, absolutely not. John Riccitiello is out as the CEO of Unity. So just to refresh everyone's memory, I'm sure that you weren't following this as obsessively as I was. Unity is an engine that you use to make games. It's been widely adopted by a lot of indie developers over the years because it's relatively easy and cheap to get into.
It looks good.
About a month ago, they announced that as of January 1st, they were going to implement this new pricing structure where if your game got installed more than 200,000 times, you then would owe Unity like 20 cents for every additional install over that.
Excuse me?
And it was slightly different if you were a pro customer, so over like 1 million installs. This was, as near as I can tell, an incredibly stupid decision that was made by management. Report said everybody internally to Unity was like, do not do this. This will be horrible.
They're trying to do microtransactions.
It was weirder than that because the first thing that people asked was like, what if I put my game on Game Pass? Do I have to pay for all the installs on Game Pass that like I'm not getting revenue from? Like you get a lump payout, but you're getting revenue from. What if my game, they said it was supposed to be retroactive for the entire life of every game that had come out. So like if your game had been out for 10 years and had been installed 1 million times, like you were going to get a bill when this started.
Yeah, that metric doesn't work.
How are you going to track it?
How are you going to pay for it, for that matter, too?
How are you going to track how many people install your game? Are you telling me that you're going to put some kind of third-party digital rights management software inside of Unity that tracks how many people installed it? Like, what are you going to do if somebody maliciously installs my game a whole bunch of times because they don't like me? And they immediately started changing it and backtracking, which is how I know that this was just something somebody came. It was written on a whiteboard. No lawyer looked at this before they said it, and they announced it on Twitter, which this is the final thing. So a lot of people said they were going to stop using Unity. There was some mobile developers staged a protest where they turned off the ad support that Unity has on phones so that Unity wouldn't get any money from it. They finally walked it back and they basically revised it and said, we are going to implement something like this. However, if you keep using the last version, like you have to upgrade to the newest version. So if you're using the previous version and you never upgrade, you're never going to run into this.
Okay.
Which is what should have been done in the first place. This is a lot of time is what game engine manufacturers will do is they'll make a change and they'll say, if you upgrade to the latest version, this will take effect. But if you just stay on this current version, don't worry about it.
But eventually your OS might get to the point like, oh, well, we got to upgrade now or something happens.
Maybe. But at least that gives the engine maker the incentive to make an engine so good that you're like, okay, I know we're going to have more fees, but like I got to have these features. Like it's going to make everything easier.
Okay.
However, the big problem was that the trust had been broken with a lot of developers because this had come out of nowhere and it had been like it was just announced. It was announced in September, right? So it was like, and it was going to go into effect January 2024. It wasn't even like there were people that were in the middle of development that were just like, no. And then a lot of people had said that this broke my trust, and the only way to get my trust back would be if some of the people in charge of this company resign, because
they shouldn't have proved it.
It should never have come out in the first place. And we already know that they decided to do this in spite of all of the really good reasons why you shouldn't. And so what's to say that they aren't just going to try this again when nobody's looking?
Yep.
We need to get rid of some of them. So John Riccitiello stepped down. I think this is a good move. Another little bit of history for Tessa and everybody else, because I had to read it. So now you guys all got to know it. John Riccitiello used to be the CEO of Electronic Arts. He was the one that came up with the Day One DLC for EA games. He's the one that came up with the multiplayer. EA had a thing in the early 2000s where all of their if a game had multiplayer, it would come with a code. And that code would unlock multiplayer for your game. What this meant was that if you sold your game to GameStop and somebody else bought it, if they wanted to play multiplayer, they had to buy this code a second time. So you couldn't just pass the game around. It's
his own sort of like, yes, this is how we do.
Yes.
This is how we make the game pay for itself multiple times over.
Yes. He also said there was some kind of conference where he, into a microphone that he knew was turned on in front of people, said that any indie developer who didn't like monetize the hell out of their video game was, quote, a fucking idiot, unquote. Woof. Which was its whole own thing like a year ago. It got walked back. I do not like John Riccitiello. I think that he represents everything that's bad with games right now, of both developers and publishers trying to squeeze every last dime out of people, or if you just give gamers a good game, they'll buy it.
Yeah.
So that happened. I don't know. This is such insider baseball, Tess. I'm not sure. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Thoughts? Fuck that guy.
Yeah, there you go. That's kind of what I was looking for. I don't know. I don't know anybody who's like, I love game CEO. I love game industry CEOs. Bobby Kotick is who I want to grow up to be. Bobby Kotick one day. I think Andrew Wilson is the best. So
should we make baseball cards of these guys? Is that what you're saying we need
like
to do?
From Adam's Family Values, like the evil
the serial killers,
serial killer cards they have.
Yeah,
I don't know what do we do with them? Make a playing cards with their faces on them, like they had in the army or whatever.
We just make one of those card video games out of it.
Well, here's the thing. I think that we're gonna go through. I promised non-bummer, so we're gonna do non-bummer.
Okay,
but between last week and this week, we are seeing a lot of layoffs. We're seeing a lot of restructuring, and a lot of it, I think, comes from John, the path that this guy blazed forward through the industry of like infinite growth, infinite monetization. Everybody needs to pay. This guy, he floated a plan one time asking, do you think it would be possible for online multiplayer games if we could charge players to reload their gun? Like if you run out of bullets,
I hate him.
You hit a button to spend $1 to buy more bullets.
Every fiber of my being.
And I think that attitude is really...
This man is a walking, talking Dragon's Lair arcade.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah.
Arcade console. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm glad he's out. I hope
more
that
quarters, all the quarters.
Nobody else hires him ever again for anything, or I'm sure they will. But anyway, all right.
Probably Elon Musk. I'll probably hire him. Help me make money off of X, Twitter.
Come on, Tessa. They took the headlines off of linked news articles. I mean, that's $1 million idea. Did you not hear about this where Twitter, it used to be that if you put like a news article on Twitter, it would show the thumbnail of the news article, but then it would show like the title and then you write your tweet above it. Now it just shows the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure. So now the onus is on the person doing the tweet to make sure that they correctly write the headline or describe what the article is about as opposed to before.
Jesus.
So, all right. New PlayStation 5.
Ooh.
This is a little weird. I don't know. This week, Sony announced the PS5 Slim model. It is just mildly smaller. Like it's not like hugely smaller, and it's still the same weird router looking design of the PS5.
Like a router.
For the
Don't they know we're going into fall in December? This is when we plump up. Like, you want to drop the Slim on us, drop it during like bikini season, you know?
Hot console summer.
Yeah.
So the main difference with these is that if you see this break in the plastic, there's like a break about halfway up in the plastic. This now will allow you, if you buy the version that doesn't have an optical drive, you can then purchase and install an optical drive at a later date. That seems all right?
I guess.
It's
not.
Well,
okay.
Okay.
Describe to me why it's not.
Let me tell you why it's not okay. Okay. Number one, this costs the exact same amount as launch PlayStations. They're all $500. Usually when you get like hardware refresh, the price goes down. I think that in this case, probably what would have been the price going down has been canceled out by inflation, but still.
Wait, is this... I think I know where you're going with this. Is this the crop top of like PlayStations? I'm paying the same amount of money for less PlayStation.
For less PlayStation? No, not necessarily. Well, okay. Let's get to the Slim. Let's get to the Slim. No, that's all right. So the main one with the optical drive is $500, same as the regular one. Okay, so if you buy a new PlayStation, whatever, it's not that much different. Usually we would have seen the price come down in this amount of time, but the price of everything is going up. So the fact that it's kind of staying the same, Number two, no hardware difference between this and the other ones. So it's not like faster or it doesn't have a better CD drive or whatever, right? It's pretty much the same hardware, or at least it does the same thing. There's no performance increase. Now, the Slim is a whole other matter. It used to be that it was $500 to buy a PlayStation that had an optical drive. It was $400 to buy a PlayStation without an optical drive that was digital only. The price of the digital only one has raised from $400 to $450. And if you decide that you would like to purchase the optical drive at a later date, that's going to run you $80.
Okay.
So if you buy the Slim and then you buy the optical drive, you're going to be paying $30 more than if you just bought the one that had it to begin with.
Yeesh. Also, those controllers not have buttons on them?
Oh no, they do. They're very light. They're see-through. On these.
Gotcha.
But,
just like from the thumbnail being that small, it just looks like there was no buttons.
The other thing
I control it with my thoughts.
Is Tessa, we're at a screen grab here of their announcement trailer. Can you see anything on this screen that gives you a certain amount of pause?
I'm looking. I mean,
you wouldn't. This isn't a fair game because you're not as familiar with, I think, this console. But these words down here that say "vertical stands sold separately."
What?
By default, the PlayStation 5 comes with. This current one comes with the little thing so you can set it upright. But if you want to turn it to make it horizontal,
You mean turn it to make it vertical?
With this one...
Those are vertical.
Yes, those are vertical. Sorry. I think it goes horizontal by default, and the way that it does that is really weird, is that there is like a little tiny... I don't know if I've got a picture of it.
But I always remember horizontal, snorizontal.
There's a little pin. There's like a little piece of metal. Let's see if I can find
it's on top of everything. The stand is also separate.
Yes, the stand to make it go vertical is $30.
So did the guy from Unity work for them for a while?
Riccatello
Did he just was he like a consult on this or something? They're just having drinks one day, be like, you know, John, I really want to find a way to squeeze more money out of people. Have you tried making the stand be sold separately? Like, oh shit,
yeah,
genius.
Yeah. So it looks like the like if I could find it. So here's the stand. The horizontal. It looks like it's got like this weird because it's not a rectangle. It's a weird
wedge
shape.
It's
right?
a wedge.
So I can't tell because they didn't get into it. But like when you have it horizontal, it sits kind of on the console, and it looks like there's a little metal piece that you put in to kind of hold up this side, the side that would like
kickstand.
Hang. Yeah, basically. And then if you want to do it vertically, you've got to pay an extra $30. So if you want to do the math on that, if you buy the $400 one and then you buy the $80 add-on fee and then you buy the kickstand, you're going to be paying $510. I don't know. Tessa has gone fetal. They've gone into a ball, and you were trying to hide from the gaming news. It will find you.
You said no bummers. You said no bummers.
I said some bummers.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this is. People also though have a really rosy thoughts about. Like, it wasn't like when the PlayStation 3 got their slim version that it dropped by like $700 and they cost like $50 a piece or something. Like, the consoles are, they can afford right now to sell these consoles for this much because people will pay for it. I think that if the console market had not been saturated by the pandemic, and if we hadn't gone through inflation, as much inflation, that this would be cheaper than the previous one. Which would then make sense for nickel and diming you with add-ons like every consumer electronics manufacturer does. So anyway, maybe buy a PlayStation this Black Friday if you can.
Jeff, I just got off work staring at a screen full of numbers.
Yep.
I didn't need more.
Do you want us to look at some numbers? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
You want to look at numbers? Because I got numbers. Okay. All right. Okay. How about some good PlayStation news?
Yes, please.
Okay. So PlayStation Plus is at the end of this month of October is implementing cloud game streaming.
Ooh.
So they've been talking about doing this for a while, and they're finally getting to where you, instead of downloading these gigantic video games, you could just stream them directly from their server.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Up to 4K 60. It's got full controller support, all the audio nonsense.
That sounds nice.
And as long as you're paying for the top tier of PlayStation Plus, you can totally do it. So,
okay.
I will be interested in trying this. I do pay for the top version of PlayStation Plus, but mostly because
might as well.
Yeah,
give it a shot.
Got so many games that are coming in, but Microsoft has something like this with xCloud where you can stream their stuff. It is garbage and it works very badly. The resolution is terrible.
Didn't we play something on that not too long ago?
See, we
tried it, I think.
We played Portal on the NVIDIA
right.
on GeForce Now as opposed to...
Never mind.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that, if they want to go to this tech for the future, if streaming tech is going to be the future, and I would like it to be the future because I think it's an interesting... it takes a lot of the hardware out of the equation. They've got to get better at it. So I'm glad that now there is a PC streaming service, there is an Xbox streaming service, there's a PlayStation streaming service that they can start fighting for who's the best streaming service, because that's the only way that we get good things in the video game industry.
Let the video game streaming wars begin.
That's right. So, yes. In addition to that, we also found out that PlayStation... we found out the PlayStation Plus... games that are coming out this month, and I normally don't go over these because PlayStation Plus tends to offer kind of meh, like the Gotham Knights, the horrible Batman game is on there, but Disco Elysium is on there.
I know you love that game.
Everybody should play Disco Elysium.
It's on my list.
Yes, everybody who has not played Disco Elysium should play Disco Elysium.
Okay, fine.
And it's the final cut. I think it's a good fall game. It's very kind of like quiet. It's very, you're like solving a mystery inside of this weird capitalist hellscape.
Oh.
And it's all political. And
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. I think it's got a really good soundtrack, so I think it's good. There's a few other things on here that are like they're okay. Like the Dark Pictures anthology from like 2 years ago, not the current one, but the one from 2021 where he plays the lady soldier going down into like weird Pazuzu crypts or whatever.
Oh yeah, does that one have like vampires or whatever the shit?
I don't know. I didn't get far enough. We just got through the intro, and then Matt and I think, stopped playing it. So.
Fair enough.
I don't know. We played all the way through Little Hope, and it was such a... Oh, I hated it so much. It was the one with the bus driver and the witches, and then at the end it turns out it was all just a fucking dream.
I hate that shit. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in like film is like it was all a dream.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? It just negates everything that just happened. It's so stupid.
Yep.
I don't know where that accent came from, but anyways, it's so stupid, man. Anyways,
it was stupid.
It was real stupid.
Yeah. Also, they've got their. I mentioned last week they've got their weird. They started adding a bunch of. Sony has their own movie app that they can use for like if you want to be locked into only Sony movies, you can use their app to buy into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse. But they also made it so that if you have this PlayStation Plus stuff, you get a bunch of movies on there. So I don't know. But yeah, this is mostly just an advertisement for Disco Elysium. Go play it. It rules. It is awesome.
I've heard good things.
Let's see. In other Sony news, Sony owns Bungie, and Destiny 2 had an interesting thing this week where people have been... Destiny 2 has been fighting the war of cheaters, right? So people cheat, they ban them, they figure out ways to come back, they ban them again, et cetera, et cetera, et
I was
cetera.
dealing with that last year.
Yeah. Apparently, it's a joke no one's going to get. No one's going to get except for me. It made me laugh. But
I dated a jag who cheated on me around Halloween. Anyways.
So apparently... It turns out that like there were some people that were being banned that didn't do anything wrong. They just like they got banned and nothing happened, or they didn't do anything. And after a little bit of time, now Bungie has been like, sorry, that one's on us.
Our bad.
They've given them like $40 worth of in-game currency inside of Destiny to buy like cosmetics that are inside of Destiny.
Is that a lot?
I don't know. I don't play that game. It's boring and repetitive.
I mean, depending on how many hours you log into it with your character, and they're just like, I don't know how much that goes, like how much that would assuage someone's anger, like over getting banned and having I assume their character has to be made from scratch.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Like this,
I don't know enough to care about this story then.
Yeah. There were not a lot of like details here. Like how long these people had been banned before they were brought back, because like ostensibly you can imagine that like, okay, if you got accidentally banned from Destiny and then you moved on in the world and then they were like, hey, do you want to come back to this 4-year-old game? We'll give you a bunch of microtransaction coins, and be like, no, I've moved on. I play Back for Blood now or something, right?
Whatever,
Yeah, I wasn't waiting for a year hoping that you guys would let me back in. I just moved on to any other video game.
Do you want monies for this thing in our game that maybe should just be free and you can unlock it by playing?
Yeah.
Which I'm sure maybe some of them have that option, but others maybe not.
Potentially. I don't know. That one doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I mean, they're trying to do
sort of, yeah.
Like, oh, we messed up. Gesture.
Speaking of messing up, let's talk about Ubisoft.
Okay.
Ubisoft has had a game in development for a while called X Defiant.
Okay.
X Defiant was a hero shooter like Overwatch, but it was all Tom Clancy properties. So it was like The Division versus Splinter Cell versus Rainbow Six. Now, what's interesting is that apparently after their betas, X Defiant has a really good reputation because they're basically trying to do like old school Call of Duty to appeal to people who used to play Call of Duty and don't like the changes. And they're incredibly sensitive about feedback from their community. So if people ask for it, they try to do it.
Oh, nice.
They try to make a lot of changes, and they're very transparent.
Good sensitive, not sensitive.
Yes.
But like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Listen to
they're
feedback.
open. They're open to it.
Yes, which especially for Ubisoft is a good thing. the interesting thing about that was that in September they were supposed to either release it or have some kind of event, and they pushed it back to October, where they said we need a little bit more time because we've got feedback from the community. We want to work on it.
Sure.
This week they put out a statement saying we need to do way more work than we thought. So we're just pushing it back indefinitely.
Wow.
We're pushing it back to
question
marks. Yes. Which, as a person who has gone through this year of games being released before they should have been released,
Sure.
I would rather see a game get pushed back and be good than have it come out now and be garbage. I had to wait for 3 years for Cyberpunk to be good. It is good now, but I would rather you just put the game out when it's ready as opposed to trying to hit some kind of target metric and then being garbage.
Yeah, hitting a deadline no matter what, you know, sometimes will lose you money in the long run. Anyways, just because somebody put the copy down on a flyer somewhere, they're like, we can't backpedal now.
Right.
It's in writing.
Yep. Also, if they were going to be putting this out at the end of October, that would be a really bad idea because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 comes out in like the first week of November.
So people who are into that are going to be playing that.
You don't want to go head to head with Call of Duty. It's still the 500-pound gorilla. Like, games will literally move their release dates to be like, we don't want to come out anywhere near Call of Duty because we know that we will get more sales if we come out somewhere where people aren't playing Call of Duty, like when it comes out. So, yeah.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a Call of Duty fan.
Well,
go figure.
Speaking of games that shouldn't compete with Call of Duty, Overwatch 2 is in the news. So Overwatch 2 just started their new season, the Season of Darkness, with a whole bunch of
spooky
stuff, some new events, a bunch of Diablo 4 skins.
Fun.
So a lot of which is really unfortunate name.
What?
Diablo foreskins. So a lot of the characters have these Diablo skins that look like the angels or like some of the big bosses.
Yeah.
There's some new kind of events that are happening. As well as your standard, they brought back Junkenstein's Revenge and the second Junkenstein's Revenge, and they put in a special Lilith skin for Moira, which is cool.
Oh yeah, I like Moira.
Yep, they put in a new control map. But this is not just the overwhelming success that it maybe should be. So Sombra and Roadhog are both getting reworks, but that's not exactly the problem. So I've got a funny problem and I've got a not funny problem. Which would you like to start with?
The not funny problem.
The not funny problem. The not funny problem is that the only way to get this Lilith skin for Moira is to buy the $40 battle pass.
Again, is John from Unity talking to these people?
Well, this should be no surprise to anybody. Overwatch 2 has been like, Blizzard doesn't know how to do this. There is a way to get people to give you money post-launch for cool stuff as long as you don't push too hard. And Overwatch is like your cousin that's 2 years older than you. They play too rough, man. They keep putting out $40 battle passes every 5 months for a game where the original Overwatch cost $40 and then it was done. Like you owned the whole game for $40. Whereas now it's like, do you want these new cosmetics? Do you want these new maps? Do you want these new events?
Do you want these new cosmetics? And it sounds like gals that I went to high school with, they're hitting me up on Facebook because they're trying to sell me on some MLMs now.
Yep.
Yeah, Overwatch, stop trying to make MLMs happen.
Yep. So, and what's really kind of sucks is that people actually really like these cosmetics, the Diablo 4
It
ones.
looks cool.
I mean, Diablo's got great art design, and people really like Lilith, that character.
Yeah, I like Lilith.
So people would be really interested in this, but again, it's like
the price of a game.
Yeah, not for $40. Like
No. Oh yeah.
So people are not exactly super thrilled at this, and I think that they're
getting greedy.
I think Overwatch 2, I can never tell. I think Overwatch 2 might be in a bit of a death spiral where like the longer that as time goes on, they need more money, so they charge more, and then people leave. But the people that stay, they spend the money.
Yeah.
But then they're making less money, so then they need to charge more, and
it just keeps happening.
They sent out an email asking people if they would be okay paying $45 for a single hero skin in the game, and it was like, no. Absolutely not. In this economy, in this latitude, at this time of the year, like, no, absolutely not. That is, especially because I don't think Overwatch 2 is, I don't know, people still think it's fun. They changed it so it was like an esports game as opposed to like this really accessible thing that people could play. And so, I don't know. I don't know.
Shrug.
All right. How about the fun one?
The fun problem.
So you saw that this isn't even a problem. This is just something that's funny.
Okay.
You saw that there is. Are you familiar? How familiar are you with Overwatch characters?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Decently.
Do you know about Wrecking Ball? He's the hamster that's in a giant ball.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a giant ball, and he's got a little hamster guy that drives him around, and it can turn a ball and roll, and it can like shoot like a line, and then become a big wrecking ball to hit
Cute.
stuff. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
So one of the skins for this is a demon skin for Wrecking Ball for the new ones, and this turns him into Asmodan from Diablo 4. So people have now noticed that the first thing that happened is that they put nipples on a hamster. They put nipples on the hamster that is driving the Wrecking Ball.
Sure.
They also put rings through the nips. So
Oh, wow.
previous to this hamster just had fur. Now its chest is like shaved, and it's got nips, and it's got rings in them nips.
I mean, he is a demon, and he's ready to go clubbing. Okay, Jeff?
But then but wait, there's more.
Oh, no.
Because one of his emotes has him jumping up and down, and people notice that not only does he have nips, and not only are they have rings in them, but they also have their own physics and bounce up and down when he does this particular emote. Let's see if I can find a good version of it. I think here at the end they've got one. So also they've got this weird hamster abs of some sort. There's some kind of weird looks like he drew abs on his little hamster belly. Like he drew them on. Oh no, wait. Okay.
Well,
but yes, there's this
they
whole.
have their own physics.
They have their own physics, and they bounce up and down when he jumps up and down in the cockpit, which is kind of a little bizarre. I don't know. People are very split over what they think about the bouncing nips of the hamster that drives the ball in Overwatch in the latest Halloween update. And that's a sentence that I just said out loud into the world. So I don't know. What do you think, Tessa?
Well, hamsters are mammals.
Yep.
Technically, he should have 6 of those.
Yep.
And, well, as a male hamster, but guy hamsters have nipples. I don't know. He might just have the 2. Shit, I'm going to have to look up. Am I going to have to Google?
I'm pretty sure we all have the same number of nips in the species, regardless of whether we're male or female, right? It's just whether they're functional or not.
I don't know.
Like, my dog's got little nubs.
Okay,
they don't do anything, but he's got them.
Yeah, so technically he should have 6 of those, making us concerned.
I think.
Anyways.
I could be wrong. I'm no zoologist. I'm more of a finding out about video game stuff, guys.
I'm going to have to Google hamster nipples right now and get on a list. I'm going to be on a watch list.
Internet, explain hamster nipples to me. I am concerned, confused. Yeah. So you may have to pay $40, but at least you're going to get some bouncing ringed hamster nips out of it.
Oh, you have to pay $40 for him too?
I think it's part of the same skin pack. I don't know
like
if you
a full
can get
pack.
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a battle pass. So which just to be clear, I hate more than loot boxes because a battle pass, you have to level up the battle pass. So you have to when you play the game. Oh, did you find an answer to hamster nips?
Yeah.
You're looking at your phone with a very concerned expression. Did you do Google image search for hamster nips or?
Okay, so females have nipples and the males have no nipples.
Oh, well, maybe my dog doesn't have
Well, for hamsters. This is for hamsters.
Oh, okay.
But the male hamsters do have very large testicles, though.
So that's where they should have put the rings when he's bouncing up and down.
Yeah, like they should have gone more like Pompoko with this.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Tanuki.
Let's see. In other Blizzard Activision news, it appears that next week we are going to find out whether Microsoft is going to acquire them. The deadline for that sale is October 18th. As of right now, the CMA in the UK has signed off on the sale. There is one...
Jeff, you know I just have like a calendar, like an electric calendar in my room, just like counting down the days to this. I totally knew about that before this. Before I came in today.
I RSVP'd to the invite to your Microsoft's going to buy Activision Blizzard party that we're going to have on the 18th. It's pre-gaming for Halloween, right? First, Microsoft does a corporate acquisition, and then it's spooky time.
You know
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether this goes through. Apparently, I don't understand this. There's like... The deal is supposed to take place on October 18th, but the FTC here in the United States has one more appeal with the Ninth Circuit that's supposed to come up in like December.
Okay.
So I don't know how the sale goes through in October if you still have some kind of court bullshit to do in December. I read like 3 articles, and then I said, there's a lot of news. I can't read any more articles about dates and FTC verdicts. Come on. Explain it to me.
Head bob, smile. Head bob, smile.
Yes.
So what do we think like Bill Gates would do to Blizzard?
The thing is that people get really wrapped up in corporate identity when they think about this. So like there's the case that Microsoft will buy Activision Blizzard and then they will make all of your games. There's a fear that happens that once Microsoft acquires enough studios that they will start jacking up the price of Game Pass.
The monopoly.
That they will use their market position in order to give you less game and charge you more money for it eventually. And that all of their current like doing good stuff is a ruse to make sure to get this chunk of the gaming industry all to themselves, at which point they can start screwing you, the consumer. There is an alternate theory that I came up with. I'm sure somebody else has talked about it, but I was thinking about it one day and thought...
He's got a bulletin board out. There's things pegged to it. There's strings everywhere. Yes, you go on, Jeff. That
Microsoft has a lot of money. They've tried to buy their way into the gaming industry, and they've learned that, like... You can kind of do that, but at the end of the day, you have to make good games. Now, one of the reasons that Activision Blizzard is kind of in a weird position right now is because Bobby Kotick, the CEO of that company, is squeezing both of those companies to make sure that they over monetize everything. We just talked about Overwatch, you know, that they're putting stuff out on a yearly basis, regardless of whether they're ready, that they're trying to shove through projects that make, like Activision used to make, you know, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and Tony Hawk Pro Skater. They only make Call of Duty now. Like that company makes one thing, and it is Call of Duty. Like they even took, until recently, they bought this company called Toys for Bob that made the Spyro remasters and then made them make Call of Duty Warzone maps. And it was just like, why? So there's another part of it that says that
they could diversify.
That Microsoft will buy them and go, you guys do what you're good at. Don't worry about the profits. We're looking for like, we want to make quality games so that people buy Xboxes. We're not as we're not looking to squeeze every last penny out of the consumer, because you are now under the $3 trillion umbrella of Microsoft. Like they can weather financial storms. They can put out bad games, bad consoles, bad services, bad whatever. They can take that financial hit because they're so insulated by their tech side money, because every single computer that gets sold gives money to Microsoft. And
but that also means that they can wait to release something when it's ready too.
Yes.
Okay.
So far, like a lot of there's reasons to have some optimism, and like we can just leave these companies alone and let them make games. We can let them take their time. We can give them the budget that they need. We can use the internal resources of Microsoft as far as development goes to make sure that projects stay on track and that nothing gets too out of hand. However, it's impossible to say, right? Like it's impossible to say, because if you could say If you know the answer to that question and you know it for sure, you tell me because we will make $1 million.
If someone totally sees the writing on the wall and has a really good handle on how this is probably going to shake out, let Jeff know.
Yep. So I don't know, but we'll get to see the beginning of that process next week.
Okay.
Also, next year. Wait a minute. Did I put these in a different? I did.
Oh no.
Oh wait. What happened to my other thing? I had another thing.
There's another thing. And then the other thing.
There's the thing.
Yeah.
So one of the other questions about the Activision Blizzard acquisition is if Microsoft buys the Activision Blizzard, when is Call of Duty and Diablo and all those games that Activision owns, when are they going to be on Game Pass?
Ooh.
And the answer is 2024.
Soon.
Because, so not in time for Call of Duty that's coming out in early November. But, if you could just not buy Call of Duty for like 3 or 4 months, you could probably get it off of Game Pass.
Yeah.
They will need time
but I need it now
to integrate
Jeff.
the company into their company and then put the games on the thing on the pass for the games. So
I do love my Game Pass.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a fan.
Me too. Let's see. Speaking of games that are on Game Pass, Redfall. One of the biggest tragedies of this year has gotten a patch that on the console will make it run at 60 frames per second, as well as some upgrades to the combat, to the general systems to try to make the game better.
Cool.
Personally, I think this game's fundamental setup is broken, and that you're not going to be able to make it better because it was a game by the people that made Prey that was Left 4 Dead. So you were supposed to play it online with 4 people, and it's but that's not the kind of game that Arcane Austin makes. So, but because they are now part of Microsoft, I get the impression they're being given more time to try to sort this out,
retool it,
right before they are immediately scrapped for parts. So,
dang.
Did you play Redfall at all? There's a big vampires and stuff.
I saw the trailer for it, and I thought it looked really cool. And I even met someone at South by last year. I think it was around when Dungeons and Dragons came out. Because they had a pop-up bar at the Highball, and I met someone there that actually did backgrounds for Redfall. And so when I heard that it wasn't any good, I felt really bad for her. I was like, no, the game she worked on is getting slammed, and that sucks. But, she did her part and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But it happens.
There wasn't, it was there was this whole kind of post-mortem where they talked about how when Microsoft acquired Bethesda and this was in development, they looked at it and they were kind of like, I guess just keep going, I guess. But that if they had unlimited purchase, they would have been like, no, don't do that. Stop that, and let's start something new because this is not what you guys are good at. And I think it's just one of those things where you see a studio push to make something that they weren't prepared to make. For profit in order to sell loot boxes and cosmetics and stuff online. So, but at least you can now play it at 60 frames per second, which is good. Let's see. More Microsoft news. Microsoft players are... Minecraft players are quote-unquote unionizing. This is a very weird story about the mobs in Minecraft. So every year, Minecraft will do some updates, and they will present several new animals that could be in the game. And then they have their players vote on those animals. And they will, whichever one wins, they put in the game.
Fun.
Done. This year, they've got a penguin, a crab, and an armadillo.
Okay.
The crab can make a little grabber that lets you put blocks onto your house from further away.
Okay.
The armadillo can make armor for your dog.
Cute.
And the penguin can be put on the back of a boat to make it go really fast.
Penguin. Yep. It looks really cute. It's a noodle penguin.
Yep. So the players of Minecraft have decided that they want all 3, and they are tired of Mojang and Microsoft making them choose, and this is bullshit. We pay for this game. We want all 3. We don't want one person to win. Quit pitting us against each other, Microsoft. We are going to lock arms in union strength and refuse to vote. And we will all refuse to vote, and you will have to give us all 3 of them.
Or none of them.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I was about to say, like that, or they say, you know what? None for you.
And they've done it with all of these weird, like, union propaganda posters.
Okay, weird flex. It's like, what? You know, this is a very strange anti-vote angle. And I don't think they quite get the funness of saying, hey, you know, you guys, we're wanting to engage with our audience, which, I mean, technically they still are, just not in the capacity that they originally intended. Yes.
I think that, I mean, you know, if they've developed all of these mobs, I think they should let people vote and then, like, release them, and then, like, 3 months later release the next one, and 3 months later release the next one, or whatever.
Right?
Right?
Just like which one they release first, you know.
I really do think it's kind of interesting. I'm not online as much. I'm not as much of a thing of, like, this idea of using all of this union symbolism, like the kind of the trappings of, like, union propaganda posters of, like, join a union, together we can overthrow the bosses, but then they put Mojang, the people that make Minecraft, on, like, the boot that is stomping down the people, and it's just very weird for me of being like, everybody rise up against the guys that make Minecraft so that they'll give us 3 animals instead of 1. And I'm like, I mean, sure, like, I guess it's good that union accoutrements have become, like, hip in a way that people want to, like, they're like, because at first the headline for this story was like, Minecraft players unionize against Mojang, and I was like,
what?
They did what? What did they do? And they're like, they're gonna not do something, and I'm like, that's not really what. That's a boycott, not a union. Like, a union is a different thing than this. But they're like, no, we're unionizing.
They don't work for them anyways.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
It's very interesting. I wish them the best of luck.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I can't really see that there's a problem. Like, part of me was thinking, like, is there a problem with this? Does this, like, dilute, if, like, union propaganda, union styling, right? This kind of,
is this going to affect other unions negatively in, like, the broader scheme?
Is it going to, like, dilute the idea of it because they're like, Minecraft kids are using this, but like, probably not. It's just, the idea of this was just very strange to me.
Yeah. I'm sure it's definitely a lot of meme fodder, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's very weird. It's just very strange. It's very strange. I encourage everybody to go look.
I mean, part of me is like, okay, they do have all 3 of these animals. Sure, why not release them all? Another one is, like, they're just trying to do something fun for the players and say, hey, you know, vote, engage, let us know which one you think's the most fun.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, fuck you, give us all the things because we're greedy, you know, like, I don't know. There's a...
Part of it too is, like,
I can see both sides. I can see, like, the you know, that gamers are just like, give me all the things. So are they going to charge them $40 for these animals?
No. I mean, that's the main thing is that, right, all of this comes free in Minecraft.
All right, then Minecraft is doing it right. Y'all need to just vote, and they'll probably release the other ones in due time. I don't know, man.
I think that
oh god.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Why are they why are they quote unquote unionizing over this, and we're not seeing crazy posters about the Lilith skin for $40?
Oh yes. Well, no. Okay, I can answer that actually, because whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not, Minecraft is a huge game. Like,
I
probably
played it. Yeah.
More people play Minecraft than Overwatch, and the people that play it are probably more obsessed with it than they are with Overwatch, considering that, like, you can build an entire world for yourself in Minecraft, and in Overwatch you want a match. Good for you.
Yeah.
You got a skin that looks like it's got the nip rings on the hamster,
that
right?
shouldn't be there.
But in this one, it's like, this affects the ecosystem of your game, right? Like,
hold up.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yes.
If male hamsters don't have nipples.
Yes. Then is that a lady
Hamster.
Is it a lady hamster
So
driving Wrecking Ball?
They're being progressive and freeing the nip nops.
But then
and so Wrecking Ball is a girl hamster.
Shouldn't Wrecking Ball then have 6 nips?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
instead of weird ab painted on abs.
I feel like maybe they're like 6 nips is too far, but we got 2 when we pierced them.
We did a lot of focus group. We were trying to figure out how many nips could gamers look at. Okay, we tried 2, we tried 6, we tried 12. They were like, that's right out.
The jiggle physics on 12 pierced nipples was just too much for the engine.
When it
just started
once they started
smoking.
banging into each other, you had these second order ripples going through, and our server melted.
We couldn't run it.
Anyway, yes. So very weird.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're moving out of the Activision Blizzard realm and Microsoft realm. I kind of put these in the wrong order, but that's okay.
How dare you?
There was a really weird, town hall that was at Activision where Bobby Kotick was. He hosted a town hall, and James Corden emceed the whole thing, the guy from the late night show and Carpool Karaoke.
Oh,
and
that guy?
Yeah, because this is one of those things where they have enough money that they can just fly out some celebrity to do a thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand this a little bit because as I understood it, Bobby Kotick was supposed to retire once this acquisition happened because of all of the horrible shit that he presided over that came out in 2020.
Okay.
However, in this meeting, he was talking about all this. It was so weird. He was talking about using AI. He was talking about using Neuralink that Elon Musk keeps killing monkeys by putting ports in their heads.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. To let people feel games, quote unquote,
I'm good. I'm good.
And Blizzard has an internal AI system that they've been developing for a while. Here's the thing. It's funny because I talk with Matt a lot about this, where I really do think that there are some good uses for this sort of generative AI stuff that has been developed. I sit between the no machine can make art and all artists should just be killed because we now have Midjourney, so we don't need them anymore. And I'm like, surely you guys, there's got to be somewhere between these two opinions where we can be there's a lot of drudge work in art that happens where it's maybe we could let the computer do that and then we could focus on the stuff that we're really good at.
These are the same arguments that they had back in the day when mural painters started using projectors.
Right.
Whenever means of using projection onto walls or onto canvases to create art, it was the same fucking argument back then with artists.
Yeah, I remember that.
Versus other artists, they'd be like, oh, but you didn't do it yourself.
When I was
and they're like, well, this is just another tool. And but the thing is with Midjourney, the tool and these AIs is they're stealing art from art. This is a whole thing people have discussed at length. Anyways, moving on.
It was just really weird. It was just very strange. It's the first time I've ever heard a AAA game developer specifically talk about how they really want to implement some AI tech, not in there've been, obviously some guy on Steam that made a thing where he generated all the assets on Midjourney and it looks like garbage and you're like, okay, fine,
Send me a link to that later. I want to see it.
But I really do think that there's some potential. Actually, that's not true. NVIDIA did a thing where they were doing it was a demo where you walked into a cyberpunk noodle shop and you would just talk into a microphone directly to this guy, and it would capture your words and then send them to basically a chat GPT and get a response, and then pipe that back through a speech generator into the NPC, and then use AI to make the lips move the right way and everything. And I was like, okay,
that's a good use.
That's interesting. There's some interesting stuff here that I'd like to explore without this. But unfortunately, the mention of Neuralink puts it in an entirely different thing because it's Elon Musk wants to put chips in your brains. Do you trust Elon Musk to put anything in your brain?
Fuck no.
Do you trust anybody that works for Elon Musk to go near your head?
No.
Do you trust Elon Musk's hand near your ear? I don't. He's going to try to put something in there, and I don't want to know what it is.
Probably a Uric from Animorphs.
Yes. So, I don't know. Also, like I said, aren't you supposed to quit in like 3 months, my man? Why are you having a James Corden all hands meeting, answering questions and talking about your future ideas for this company? The whole point, one of the reasons that I kind of supported this whole move was so that you would be gone and we could have an Activision that was not run by a fucking tyrant overlord motherfucker.
Wants to start an initiative for someone to take up after he leaves, so he can leave and he can still feel like he's part of it. You know, basically, it's a control.
Oh God,
it's a total like power move, like control freak thing.
What if he already has a neural link and he's uploaded his consciousness to an AI, and once his physical body quits, his horrible spirit will still run the company from inside the mainframe?
What if or what if one of his employees is like get out kind of thing? Right. Shit.
He just shows up like Shodan in meetings. Put more nipples on it. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, I don't think I've got any more stories with nipples in it, so enjoy that one. But we'll be back in a minute with more.
Hamster nipples.
Hamster nipples. That's the watchword of the day. That's today's word is hamster nipples. And when we left, we were talking a little bit about AI. We have another kind of stupid AI story.
Oh God!
So earlier this year, there was a game that came out called Gollum, Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Oh, God.
It was terrible. It had been in development for a long time. Apparently, they only gave the company $15 million to make it, which is incredibly low for game development standards.
Okay.
It came out. It was horrible. And
it was not your precious?
I didn't even play it. It got such bad reviews. I was like, there was other stuff, and I was like, I don't want to play a game that I'm just going to complain about. I already complained about every other game. So
this is true.
But one of the things that we found out this week was that apparently after the game came out, there was an apology issued on Twitter about the game where they said,
"We're so sorry.
We're sorry.
Wasted your time.
We did it. We did the thing."
I saw this thumbnail or the picture Jeff has on the screen, and his Gollum's hair looks terrible. I mean, his Gollum's
hair always looks terrible.
It always looks terrible, but it looks rendered horribly.
Worse than that. Yeah. So apparently the developer let out this week, dropped the little nugget that apparently this entire apology was written in ChatGPT. And it wasn't even issued by Daedalic. It was issued by Nacon, who was like the new publisher of the game. And I fucking hate those guys so much that I want to point this out as another example of them being craptacular jerk lords. So
probably didn't even have a proofreader look at it afterwards, I assume.
Yeah, somewhere in here something is misspelled.
Or
like it's like one of the names of something. They might have fixed it post, but yeah. Nacon blows, and they should be
what have they worked on besides
removed.
That?
They're a European publisher. They used to go by Big Ben Interactive. The reason that I know them is because there was a game called The Sunken City that was made by a company called Frogwares. It was like a Cthulhu mystery game where you played as a private investigator that came to this town. Cool game. Very cool game. Had a lot of fun with it. They got into a royalties dispute with Big Ben before they turned into Nacon. They delisted their own game on Steam because they weren't getting paid any royalties, at which point Nacon took a where is rip of their game and then relisted it on Steam. Like, they just suck. They're bad. They're bad people. What are bad? You are bad, Nacon. I do not like you.
Okay.
Also, this is like that thing with the lawyer, remember, who tried to like use ChatGPT to like get legal cases, and ChatGPT just made up a bunch of legal cases, and so they went to court and they did it, and the judge was like, these are not actual legal cases. This model just created words that it sounded like legal cases.
Yeah. There's no precedents or codes that correlate to these.
Yes.
Like, this is not accurate. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
So don't do that. Don't do that. That's my message. That's the message of the RageSelect podcast is
yikes.
don't do that.
Do your homework.
Speaking of things that people shouldn't do.
Oh boy.
Disney is apparently Bob Iger over at Disney is being pressured apparently internally to turn Disney into like a big new game publisher. So the idea here was that Disney would use their deep pockets like Microsoft did to buy up companies.
Well, Disney used to have like Disney Virgin Interactive, yeah?
Yes, they have in the past bought up some companies. Usually they're individual. They're like they'll buy a specific company to make a specific game, and then the cycle is always the same. They get all excited. The game comes out and sells a moderate number of copies and not like a bajillion. And they go, oh, it was a total failure. Shut down that studio that's been in business for 10 years because it was a total failure. The end.
Jeez.
So I don't think with their track record that they should be buying studios. Like one of the ones they're talking about is EA. Now, on the one hand, we had talked before about EA and how they suck, but I kind of think this is one of those ones where you have to be like, who sucks worse? And
They're perfect for each other.
I think Disney sucks worse, to be honest. Like, I don't know, but yeah, I really think this is a bad idea, and I'm really hoping that we don't see it because. Also,
It's a match made in hell. No.
I've gone back and forth about whether I think it's a good idea for Microsoft to get into the like we're buying up a bunch of game companies business, but Microsoft at least ran some game companies before they bought Bethesda and the rest of them. Sony has developed games internally before they bought Bungie and some other places. Like Disney has a horrible track record of bad video games.
You know what? And they also don't take unsolicited pitches. I know this because the first time I pitched and storyboarded a video game, I was in 3rd grade, and I actually wrote a letter to Disney Virgin Interactive.
And they never got back to you.
They actually did.
Oh.
But they told me, like, you don't work for us. 2, you're underage. I was like 9. And then 3, like we can't take we don't take unsolicited pitches. Like I wrote out like here's what the plot's gonna be, and here's some like it was gonna be my pitch was to make a side-scrolling game in the flavor of Echo the Dolphin, but based off of the Stella Luna book, and you would play as a flying fox bat. Anyways, my mom was like, Tessa, you have mail from Disney Virgin Interactive? And I was like, oh my God. Oh, did they accept my pitch? And I like ran upstairs and opened it, and I read the letter, and I was pissed. They sent me like a free Disney magazine. I was so angry. But anyways, I've always at a young age, I was always like, I could do this. I could make a game.
So that's another good reason why Disney should not become a game publisher, because they rejected Tessa's awesome video game.
They also didn't have the rights to the Stella Luna character, so I mean they might now. Who knows?
They're made out of money. Come on, it'd be fine. So I don't know this. Having just gotten done finally playing through Cyberpunk 2077, I'm also maybe just in the mind space where I'm like, I don't think that I want to live in a world that's only got like 7 corporations in it that just own every other sub-corporation, because I've already seen that. Also, there's Neuralink, and like so.
We've seen that people having monopolies generally leads to corruption and not enough oversight. Yeah.
Maybe if I could get the big giant mantis blades that come out of my arms, maybe then, but not until then. Not until then.
That'd be kind of cool, but it sounds painful.
Oh, hey, look at that. Wonderful. Speaking of Cyberpunk 2077, this week we got the word that CD Projekt Red has created a new game labor union. So a bunch of people got laid off from CD Projekt Red in, I believe, July.
So an actual union, not some Minecraft video game player bullshit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But the thing is that the union that they created is more like, so far we've seen a lot of, when we see video game unionization efforts happen, a lot of times it's like, this is the Activision Blizzard QA union, right? This is like, for anybody that works in games in Poland, because that's where CD Projekt Red is based out of, can join this union. So
Nice.
like collecting, it could be programmers and QA. It's not specialized or anything.
Just anybody who works in games.
Anybody that works in games
In Poland.
In Poland, yes.
Well, good for them.
And it's a part of a larger Polish union called OZZ, and I'm not going to try to even read those other words because they're in Polish, and I can't do that. This is good, and actually, I think that we've got some details on Cyberpunk 2077 and how bad the conditions were. Apparently, when they did the expansion, though, the crunch time and everything, they said they were going to eliminate crunch for moving forward, and they did. But they still did that thing that a lot of game companies do, where you will hire on artists and professionals, you will work them up until the point where the game releases, and then you fire all of them as soon as the game comes out.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? I don't understand. Like, a lot of it just comes from the fact that as a game gets more complicated, you need more programmers and artists and QA people.
Everybody's technically contractors or some shit.
Right. And then once you've shipped a game and you're going into development, that's more of a small team thing. You don't need a whole 400-person QA group sitting around doing nothing while you're blue skying the concepts for your next video game. There won't be anything for them to test until 30% into the thing. However, I also know how much fucking money CD Projekt Red made off of Cyberpunk 2077. And the fact that they own the GOG storefront, so I don't have a lot of sympathy for them laying people off.
Yeah, no, I've plenty of friends that work in that industry, and also like happens a lot in animation studios too, not just in video games. Yeah, I heard that Netflix is going to be letting go a bunch of people in the animation department over there as well. I've heard some things about that potentially.
Last week we had a whole one of the reasons it was such a bummer, and even for some of this week was a lot of, well, it wasn't that, but it was like Epic Games laid off 800 people.
Jesus.
There's just been like Team 17 laid off people. Telltale laid off. They are tiny and they still laid off a bunch of people. I look, guys, I don't want to like. I'm not a financial analyst. I don't know anything about anything. I think that you're looking at between inflation, layoffs in all sectors, which then floods the market with people who need a job.
Yeah.
And the thing is that back when the game industry was rootin' and tootin', right? Like, okay, it's bad the way that they lay people off, but if there's a lot of opportunities in the industry, then you can go get another job somewhere else.
Sure.
But if you keep flooding the market with these groups of, like, Microsoft earlier this year laid off like 800 or 1,000 people.
We need to have CEOs not getting paid so goddamn much and like spreading the wealth around.
Yep.
Oh, I'm talking about socialism. What?
See, I don't even think that counts as socialism, because if you just look at, like, it's just that the pay for CEOs has increased so much.
It's
ridiculous. We used to
ridiculous.
have a just regular old capitalist system where you just didn't pay the CEOs this much and then didn't fire off 60% of your staff all the time. But they've stretched all of these concepts of, like, you know, production for streaming. You know, during the pandemic, there was a lot of kind of like relief money and stuff sloshing around that a lot of places used to just hire on more people, even if they didn't need them. And now the bills come and due. Prices of everything is going up. Costs are going up. And so you're getting a lot the shoved back out of the market.
You're bumming me out, Jeff.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe the bright side here is that what this a lot of times I think means is that we are heading for I don't know. I know nothing about this. What I can say is that as somebody who lived through the tech crash and was specifically working during the tech crash, there's probably going to be a labor crash.
Yeah.
The prices have to come down. And if you've got a lot of people that are unemployed, like, people aren't going to have the disposable income to be able to prop up these industries, which is going to lead to more people being laid off.
Yeah.
This means that the housing market goes down. This means that there's a big financial crash, and it's bad. The upside to that is that
I'm just sitting on Jeff's couch having an existential crisis and just like a mini panic attack.
I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. The upside is that potentially, this is how you get to a point where on the other side of that, when industries start building back up, when new industries start taking hold, when the market starts settling out, that you'll be able to get a job that pays more. You'll be able to your generation will be able to afford a house because the whole real estate market will have crashed under its own weight for being, my place here in Austin is worth like $300K. This is garbage. This is an apartment. Like, an apartment is worth $300K. This is nutsack. Like,
this is more like a condo.
I mean, kind of just an apartment that you buy,
sort of. Anyways,
but I think that people should be careful. And I say this as a way to, like, you shouldn't start buying gold and those big buckets of food that they sell on, like, the InfoWars or whatever.
Unless you live in Texas and the electricity goes out and it's like, you're almost freezing to death for a week.
True.
Like, in a city where a part of the year we almost, die of heat stroke, we almost die of freezing to death in the same state.
Probably.
Woo, Texas.
Yep.
Pew, pew, pew.
I guess all I'm saying is that, like, as I keep reading this, it seems like maybe, like, if you can, prepare for some weird times, because there's probably going to be some kind of reckoning that happens soon.
I got a generator in my garage. It's so sad. I feel like I'm so close to being a doomsday prepper almost. And the thing is, at this point, it's not even being paranoid.
Yep.
Anyways,
I got a plastic bin in my kitchen that's full of, like, propane tanks with a propane space heater. I've got a lot of LED lights and a big chunk of batteries to light them, and I've got space blankets and emergency water that are just sitting there for the next time that the fucking grid goes offline.
I know where I'm going when the zombie apocalypse comes, or any kind of apocalypse for that matter.
Anyway.
Yeah, man, wow, that was a real drag.
Back to the news.
Still a drag.
So this is more good union news. 100 folks over at the Just Cause developer Avalanche Studios are unionizing. This is about a fifth of the 500-person team there. This is kind of interesting, though, because this is in Sweden. So instead of having to, like, create a union, they just have general trade unions that you can then join. So instead of doing that, and there's no, like, you have to take a vote, a certain number of people, it has to be ratified by the union organization. You could just kind of go like, nah, I want to be in the union. And so you go and you sign up, and it's a general workers union. And that's what's happening here. So they're just joining Unionen, a Swedish trade union.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, earlier about the fun game. I actually beta tested a game that was about sort of like socialism, and it was called Tonight We Riot. And like the subtitle,
I remember that game.
Yeah,
I remember that game.
I game tested that for a buddy of mine who was like in that studio.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Speaking of the, that's a nice means of production you have there. Would be a shame if we were to destroy it or seize it.
Yep, I remember this game.
Yeah.
I've only played this game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's see. Kind of back to some bummers. Well, sort of. This is a weird one. Okay, so last week the Lamplighters League came out, which is a kind of a weird, like, 1930s Indiana Jones style adventure.
Sure.
But it's also a tactics game, and it's also a stealth game, and it's a globetrotting game.
Okay.
And there's some, like, diet Nazis and some Cthulhu's and stuff for you to fight.
Fun.
Yeah, and it's got a really cool, like, kind of Pixar-ish art style to it. Apparently it didn't sell very well.
Oh no. Is it not good, or did it just not sell well because of, like, marketing?
I thought that it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It seems like they might have kind of overestimated. So part of this is the idea that, like, they spent around $22 million, about $23 million on the game. And then they were talking about, Paradox was talking about how it's not like, it hasn't come out to great success based on the number of concurrent players on Steam. The thing is that I think this is a really weird statement because, one, this is on Game Pass. And so, like, you're going to get less direct Steam sales if your game is on Game Pass. But you can just sign up to do it. Two, you released this game in like one of the like this came out the same week that Cyberpunk expansion came out, and like we're in the middle of Spider-Man 2 is about to come out, the new Mario Brothers is about to come out. Like there's a lot. Baldur's Gate is out right now. There's a lot out right now for you to be like, we're going to put out a kind of a quirky indie game right in the middle, and then just be like, oh no, it didn't sell 1 billion copies and
right away.
Well, come on, guys.
Give it time.
Pick your shots better. It came out the same week as like the new Assassin's Creed and Forza, like just all these other games coming out right now.
I know, like initial release dates are really important, but like how often do like gaming companies decide like, hey, maybe we should like give this another like not re-release, but just like another marketing run for people to realize, hey, this exists.
A lot of times you have to have something to do that with.
Okay.
Like you need like an expansion or some kind of update or something.
Yeah. But I'm still like, why not? Like, it's just, that's what marketing's there for, is to like let people know things exist. I don't know why it has to be, in conjunction with an update or a patch or a re-release or what have you. Anyways, that's just me maybe just not getting it, but I don't know. Think outside the box, people. Come on.
This also kind of spurred on the news that apparently in July, kind of once the game was fully feature complete and was just doing polish, Harebrained Schemes laid off 80% of their employees.
80?
Yes. They weren't a huge group by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know. The thing is that like this game company, Harebrained Schemes, like I think that they got really ambitious with this Lamplighters League, and I think that it's one of those things where it's like it's not based on anything. It's not based on a comic. It's not based on like a Netflix show.
Yeah.
It's its own thing that was created from scratch. They put a lot of money into it as far as like art style.
I'll give it a go.
And directions and stuff like that go. And then they released it right in the middle of like a really hot time in gaming.
Yeah.
So, not to spoil the podcast, but like we have a story about how well Dredge sold, right? Remember we played Dredge?
Oh, yeah.
But like Dredge came out in the middle of like the week that it came out, it was like, oh no, this is kind of the only thing out right now, and everybody's talking about Dredge, so let's play Dredge. You know?
Let's give it a go.
But it's like this is such a hard ask that I feel like the idea that you're going to make this and then put it out where it's going to get eclipsed. Of course you're going to have...
It's got some Mummy. It's got some Hellboy, Indiana Jones sort of vibes.
It's also a tactics game.
Huh.
It's also literally like when you do kind of stealth and then you get into like these missions, it turns into an XCOM style tactics game. Those are not like huge ass sellers. Like not everybody is down for a globe-trotting tactics game.
Sure.
So
I'm not hugely into tactics games depending on how deep they go.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, it seems...
Depends.
It seems, I don't know. To me, it just seems kind of flawed, because before this, they made BattleTech. They made a BattleTech game, and then their first games were those Shadowrun games that came out a while back. And they did a good job with those, but they were very modest. And then they took off and sold really well. And then I think Paradox was just like, wrote them a blank check, and they got to kind of make their dream game. And sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't. So...
timing is important, I guess.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Speaking of layoffs, this is just it's kind of the thing that's happening right now. I know. Apparently, so last week Epic Games laid off a whole bunch of people, as I said before. There's a lot of people.
Anybody listening to this podcast, if you know any gaming companies that are hiring, put them in the comments for people to read.
Yep.
Yeah.
The weird thing about this, and this is kind of one of those things that kind of shows that I think that a lot of these problems are from bad management. There was a recent thing where Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, was talking about the Epic layoffs and basically said that they only realized that this was going to happen 10 weeks ago. Like that they were like looking at the books 10 weeks ago and went like, oh shit. Because for a long time, Epic has been able to be propped up by Fortnite money. So they've kind of been free to do a lot because Fortnite makes so much money and they can kind of do whatever they wanted to. And they have been doing whatever they wanted to. Until very recently, where apparently they looked at it and they said, we're gonna be operating at enough of a loss that's gonna cause problems unless we lay people off like within the next few weeks, and that was where this came from. I think that is that shows a gross negligence from management, whose job it is to look at the books and make sure that your operating expenses are balanced with your spending costs moving forward.
Yeah.
It should not be something that you look at and go, oh shit, we need to fire a bunch of people. Like, over 800 people got fired in that.
Jesus.
And so like the idea that those drastic of cuts were needed and that you didn't know until 2.5 months ago, like, how is that possible? How are you running a business where you're not going to realize that, like, are you doing it through Patreon? Because Patreon just changed their thing and I can't tell how much money I make anymore, but like, it's weird. It's very strange. But then also, Epic,
are they like, what are they like, who's balancing their books? Like, that sounds shady.
Yeah.
That sounds like that could be shady.
Personally, I think that you can envision a situation where they got into the weird. I haven't seen this for a long time, but as I understand it from reading stories and from my experience way back when I used to have real regular people jobs, they weren't concerned about the books because of the amount of money that they were making. They were doing very well, and that
so they
finally
just ignored that. We don't need to balance that. It's fine. It'll take care of itself. It's TurboTax.
Well, it's kind of like, have you ever seen Margin Call? Margin Call is a really good movie. It's got Jeremy Irons and Zachary Quinto and Demi Moore, and it's set in a financial. It's set in was it Price Waterhouse or one of those places? It's set like the night before the housing financial crash, where a bunch of analysts figure out that it's going to happen, and then like what they do, and it's kind of based on some true events. And that was, again, I think one of those things where like we always assume that you don't get to be CEO or like the accountant, the CFO, right? Unless you're like really qualified. But I think that the longer the time goes on, the more we're finding out that it's like, no, they'll hire a chuckle fuck like John Riccatello and let him just be like, just tell all those plebeians that we're going to raise the prices by 30%. And if they don't like it, they can suck my dick. And everybody goes, oh, we didn't like that. And we will not be sucking your dick. We're going to take our business elsewhere. They're like, what? What happened? The surprise Pikachu face, right? Yeah, exactly. And I think that we're finding out more and more that like nobody really knows what they're doing. Nobody pays enough attention. If you are one of the attention-paying people in this world, I would like to salute you because I am one as well. And I feel like those of us that pay attention are really
angry.
We're really keeping this thing moving forward while everybody else around us is concerned about their own little TV show that they're on and like what happened this week on fucking Judy's telenovela that she's living in. Like, sorry, I
love Judy's telenovela, Jeff. You get her name out of your mouth.
I have to go. I'm just saying this because I have to go to the grocery store later, and I fucking hate it.
Okay.
I fucking hate it. People stand right in the middle of the aisle. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they're doing. Then they're completely oblivious to the fact that there are other people around them that are
Jeff,
doing things.
What?
Sorry.
What was that tangent?
They keep letting people at the self-checkout at my grocery store that's supposed to be for 10
Jeff,
items
are you
or
stroking
less.
out? We were just talking about video games.
Now we're
talking about grocery store lines?
Go through with 40 items, and I'm like, that should be against the law. You should be arrested.
You know what?
Straight to jail.
Jeff,
straight to jail.
Hamster nipples.
Hamster nipples.
That's my safe word now.
Hamster nipples.
On RageSelect. If things get too much of a bummer or Jeff goes on a tangent, I'm like, hamster nipples.
Hamster nipples. All I'm saying is that people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who don't know what the fuck they're doing, well, sort of. Rocket League this week announced that they are no longer going to let people do trades of skins and cars and stuff. So it used to be that you would get like the Ecto 1 skin for Rocket League, and then if you wanted to give it to your friend, you could trade him for another skin. Which then also created a large third-party market where people could list stuff on websites and then they could sell.
I knew where this was going immediately. As soon as you said that, I was like, and then people were taking advantage of it and turning a profit over it. And then Rocket League was like, no, we're supposed to be ones making the profit, not you guys. Anyways.
Very close.
Yeah.
Guess who bought Rocket League like 2 years ago?
Unity?
Epic.
Ah, so close.
So, a lot of people are saying that the reason this is happening is because they're going to implement their own system of doing trading that will go through the Epic Game Store because Rocket League started on Steam and then got like delisted from Steam and put on the Epic Game Store, so you could no longer buy it on Steam. You could only buy it through Epic directly. And it was supposed to be a really good thing, and now they've shut down the person-to-person training, and the people don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like it. Yep. All right. How about a huzzah?
Gimme.
Okay.
Gimme.
You know the game RuneScape?
Not really.
It's I'm not a big, it's like an old MMO. It's like an MMO that's been around for a long fucking time. Like it used to look like,
I've played some MMOs.
like it used to look like this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They updated it a few years back, so now it looks like this instead of this.
Okay.
But you can still play either one of them through their website.
Fun.
They recently implemented a battle pass to RuneScape, which is the thing I was talking about, where you have to buy a battle pass and then you get rewards as you play more of the game. Kind of a bad fit for an MMO. Players revolted, and they have shut down.
Did they unionize?
They unionized. I was going to say the players are revolting, but that has too many implications
it's like
there.
Diablo foreskin.
Yep. And they're taking it down. They said we did an oopsie. We realized that people didn't want this sort of engagement, so we're taking it down. We're going to look for ways to reward players for playing the game later in the future, but we're not going to do it like this. So, and I think that works a lot of times at games like RuneScape, where you probably have a very small, dedicated fan base.
Like, why? Like, how are all these gaming companies like doing these things that the fans and the players just innately hate?
Yeah.
Do they not do any sort of like, oh, maybe we should do some sort of like product testing, or I don't know, run this by some of our fans? Just like, hey, how would y'all feel about if we did this? Well, we'd feel terribly about it, you know.
You exist in the working world, right?
Yes.
You know, surely you have stories about management doing things where you're just like, did you ask anybody? Did you even run this by a single human being before you decided to do something? Because once we started using this new piece of software, everybody's job takes 30% longer than it used to, and it's a lot harder. Please, why did you do this?
I work for the state. You know I deal with that.
You figured, I mean, I would like to think that game companies would be smarter, but I get the impression that no, they just see the dollar signs. They go, they'll be mad at the beginning, but they won't care, and then they put it in there, and then they start to be like, okay, we only have like 4,000 users, and we've lost 10% of them in the last 48 hours. We got to turn this shit off.
Game companies need to realize there's so many games out there.
Yep.
If you're being shitty, we'll just play something else.
Very true. Very, very true. Well, speaking of things that people are playing, this is a fun story. Baldur's Gate 3. So, there is a character. We're shifting gears dramatically.
Okay.
There's a character in Baldur's Gate 3 called Minthara. She is a drow, and she's part of like the evil faction in the game. And
stereotyping the drow.
You can get her into your party if you decide to join up with the hobgoblins and the orcs to kill all the tieflings at the beginning of the game. So there's like a tiefling druid settlement. And one of the things you can do is just go to the goblins and be like, I want to be on you guys' team. And they're like, all right, let's go kill all those all those women and children and peasants over in the tiefling town. And you're just like, okay. And then you go do that, and then you get the evil person on your side. But a lot of people have been trying to figure out, is there a way to get her on my side without committing horrible acts of atrocity?
Yeah.
And people have found out how to do it.
I love it.
So
it's a feel-good story.
I'm gonna lay it out here because I think it's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
So you go into the goblin camp, you got to kill the 3 leaders. She is one of them.
Okay.
So when you attack her and you switch your characters to, instead of doing like damage, you're trying to knock them out.
Sleep spell or some shit?
No, you could just change your damage type to like you're hitting them with the flat of your sword, basically.
Oh.
So you knock out Minthara, you kill the rest of them, you do all that stuff, bada bing, bada boom. She'll be knocked out. Once you go to the next area, she will be back there, but she won't talk to you because she's mad because everybody died. But she won't attack you either. So then you go forward in the Act 2, and you get to the part in Act 2 where she would have a story beat, this place called Moonrise Towers.
She shows up.
Nope. And you go back.
Oh.
And you use the sheep spell to turn her into a sheep.
What?
And then you have another character use the dominate animal spell to make her follow your party around. and then you take Sheep Minthara into Act 2, and when you bring her into Moonrise Towers,
she turns back.
It triggers this cutscene where her allies put her on trial, and then you have to go through that and
Wait,
get her out of...
is the sheep on trial?
No, it turns her back into
I think it'd be
Minthara.
hilarious.
But yes, it is unclear whether Larian will be patching this out, but I do think that's a pretty fun way. I was trying everything.
They should leave it.
I was trying everything to get her in my party, but it was just like, all right, I'm gonna keep moving.
Fun.
So,
They should leave it.
yeah, people are discovering all kinds of fun stuff about Baldur's Gate 3.
I still need to play.
So down with it. Speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, Larian has put out a call for people who have played Baldur's Gate 3 and like it, who have experience with clothing design.
The deuce, you say?
Because it appears that they are going to want to... They do kind of like cheekier like shirt designs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so right now, the only way to get quote-unquote Baldur's Gate 3 apparel is through like Redbubble stores that are just ripping off DeviantArt designs and printing them on stuff. But they are looking to hire some actual professional people.
What?
To make professional...
Not AI?
Clothing. Yes.
Not Elon Musk putting some sort of chip in their brain so that they can figure out T-shirt designs?
As far as I can tell, no. It seems no.
Good.
It may be the answer this time
Let's hire
around.
artists.
Yes.
Please.
But yeah, that's cool. So probably, they'll have to go through the design process and vetting and stuff like that. But 6 to 8 months, you'll be getting some Baldur's Gate 3 apparel that you can get.
That's dope.
Yeah. Very cool. Larian is... See, Larian in...
Is it just T-shirt designs, or is it going to be like cosplay-style jackets and vests and pants and shoes and shit like that? Like, what kind of garb we talking here?
Call to action was, if you're someone who designs for T-shirts, sweaters, etc., and you know Baldur's Gate 3, then get in touch with us at...
T-shirts and sweaters, okay.
We're working on something.
That sounds fun.
So...
Yeah, T-shirts and sweaters. Okay.
Yep. Let's see.
Me, I'm just like cosplay adjacent clothing.
Speaking of clothing, the creator of Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape, put out a tweet saying,
vote on one of these cute animals.
Hats on cats, parentheses, and dogs, with a picture of a bunch of pixelated cats and dogs wearing hats.
Do they have to vote for them?
I don't believe so. I believe that they're all going to be added in the 1.6 update for Stardew Valley. So that in 1.6, you're going to be able to put a hat on a dog or a cat, or a cat or a dog.
Looking at that fedora on that puppy is just making me think of Sam and Max.
Oh, the freelance police?
Yes.
Yep. Uh-huh. It
like,
does kind of
hey
look
there,
like
little buddy.
like Sam. Also, this one has a big bow.
Oh,
so
that one kind of looks like Lady from Lady and the Tramp.
Yep.
With the big bow when she was a puppy.
Yep. Got his little flapper hat.
Cuties.
Anyway, yeah. So it's kind of crazy because every time that Concerned Ape says they're done with Stardew Valley, they keep adding more to it.
Yeah,
So.
isn't there like you can like see a therapist through Stardew Valley now or something weird?
Oh, I don't even know about that.
There's like some sort of like Stardew Valley therapy, and I think there's also like a version of that that's Animal Crossing. Like there's some sort of like meet a therapist online on this wholesome video game. It's like a whole thing, Jeff.
Okay.
You get depressed, just play a video game and meet a therapist in game.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wish the Concerned Ape would would get back to their next game, Haunted Chocolatier, because I want to see more of that.
And then meet a therapist who's a chocolate ghost.
That's right.
Sounds like
let's see.
chocolate ghost sounds like slang for a shart.
For something gross, something you don't want to do, something that you'd rather not engage in.
I gave him a little bit of the chocolate ghost, if you know what I mean. Elbow. I wink.
I gotta go home. What happened? I got visited by chocolate ghost. I got haunted by chocolate ghost. Steam has implemented mandatory 2-factor authentication for developers.
Okay.
This happened because this is a very strange story. Earlier this week, a bunch of developers got their credentials stolen. The hackers went onto their Steam page, replaced the executable of their game with a version that had malware in it, and then published it.
No.
So that if you then downloaded their game and installed it, you would also get a big healthy dose of malware.
What games were they?
They were very small indie games. It wasn't anything big. I only had one example on here that was for Nano War: Cells versus Virus.
Okay, I don't have that. I didn't download that one. You're like, oh, they're just small indie games, Tessa. Don't worry about it.
like,
looks at Tessa, who loves indie games. I'm like, what were the titles, Jeff?
No. Like you have to go to the All Games tab on Steam, not just like popular games, and then search for, Nano War: Cells versus Virus. But
I go in like with a fine tooth comb sometimes.
Well, it's all fixed now.
Good.
Like it's all been reverted, and they're making developers use two-factor or SMS authentication in order to make sure that you're not some kind of weirdo. So
okay,
which is good.
a kind of weirdo, but not that kind of weirdo.
A malicious weirdo. Yes, you're not a malicious weirdo.
Most of the time, though.
Okay.
Just don't cross me.
Speaking of malicious weirdos, this is a PSA. I don't think I need to tell anybody that's logged on to RageSelect, but we got a little bit extra time, so I'm going to go ahead and put it anyway.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Shell on TikTok? Like, there's like there's been some like Shell. There's like this Filipino grandma or something that does like TikToks. It's like
I had to delete TikTok off my phone because I work for the state.
That's good. Or well, I don't know. I've never been on TikTok. So
anyways, it's all right.
Anyway, Shell appears to be doing this thing where they're like paying a lot of people to just be like, wow, I love Shell. They're a great company, and I'm super happy about all of the gasoline that I get from them on a daily basis. And one of the things that they've done at this point is basically create a whole Fortnite, like driving a car through these different worlds, and they all hub out to a Shell gas station that you go to called Shell's V-Power Nitro Premium Gasoline Explosion or something, as a way to basically try to get, to make children associate Shell with like, and gasoline with like, I love that shit. It was in my Fortnite. Like,
why don't hackers hack that game and add an additional level to that game where a bunch of gasoline and oil rigs crash and a bunch of animals are covered in muck?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Just don't put any viruses in it, please. I just want to play games.
I mean,
not worry about it.
Maybe one of the 800 people that Epic laid off was like their security manager.
Oh man,
no, they're open to stuff. I don't know. I think this is really gross, and they shouldn't let them do this shit, no matter what, no matter how much money no matter what, the size of the dump truck that they pull up with full of money. Like, I don't know. I just
look at this cute game. Ignore all these dead animals.
Well, it's more just like, I know the demographic that plays Fortnite, and it is young people, and their brains are not done. And I don't want an oil company, even a good oil company. I don't want corporations programming kids' brains before they're even people yet.
Well, some kids. There are some kids that see right through that bullshit. You say some kids. I would say there are a lot of kids that are probably smarter than I am now. Like you say the brains aren't done. Our brains are coming undone as we get older. Yeah. There's like a nice happy medium in there somewhere sometimes.
So yeah, that is the one thing, is that apparently like,
kids aren't buying this crap.
Yeah, anybody that tries
kids today are all right
to do this stuff does that, but still, I don't think it should have been even in there in the first place.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, how about a good Fortnite story?
Okay.
Fortnitemares is happening right now.
Yeah.
And they've added a few interesting skins. They have added Jack Skellington.
Fun.
They have added Alan Wake from the new Alan Wake game.
Oh.
Who now looks like Jake Gyllenhaal cosplaying as John Wick.
Yeah, a little bit. I was about to say, like, he's looking like somebody.
Yep. And then, a bunch of Halloween stuff. And then the other thing that they've added is Mr. Myers, Mr. Michael Myers, who has one of the best emotes that I've ever seen in Fortnite.
What is that?
Let me see if I can find it. I looked it up before. Michael Myers, Fortnite emote.
Is this emote Star Trek related?
Let's see. Is this... Yeah, this is it.
Okay.
So it's him playing a hovering keyboard, and he's playing the Halloween theme.
Oh, nice.
Like, dun, 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 dun. But then when in the Halloween theme, when they have the bass notes that come in, then it's like dun, dun. Yeah. So it's got the little like repeating melody, and then it has the stuff. Okay, so in the emote, when the bass notes come in, he's playing them with the knife stabbing the other side of the keyboard, and I'm like, that's great. I kind of love it.
That's a fun emote. It's good times.
Epic may not be great as a company, but they do make some. I don't know how they have the ability to get everybody in the world to give them license to let them put fucking Michael Myers in their game, right?
Gasp.
Like, Anyway, that's going on right now, and it doesn't cost $40. You can just go buy it with your V-Bucks.
All right.
Spy X Anya Operation Memories got a 2-minute trailer.
What?
This is a game that's coming out next year. It was announced for the Switch, but it's also going to be on other consoles. It's like Anya has to make a scrapbook of events for class. And so it's like, it seems very kind of Animal Crossing. We're going to the park. We're going to the...
An ooting.
Yeah, we're doing did the ootings. And then we're taking pictures and we're putting them in the scrapbook. And everybody's there. And isn't it so wholesome?
Making memories for a diary.
Yep. So it seems like the main part of Spy Family, where I'm like, you start watching Spy Family, those first 3 episodes, it's like, here's some action, here's some action, here's some action. And then when you get to like episode 8, you're like, I've just been watching these people live like a suburban household life for like 7 episodes at this point.
That's kind of like, espionage sometimes isn't all action. There's a lot of, living that life you're supposed to apparently be faking, you know? And somehow in the process, you're living it and you become a family and it's wholesome as hell and you should watch Spy Family. Anyways.
So, yeah, it looks very charming. I can't wait for more people to fall in love with the horrible gremlin that is Anya.
Shush you. She's definitely not also inspired by Elven Light with her little horns and her pink hair. And she's psychic. What?
Yeah. But yeah, this looks like, just kind of like a little adventure kind of visual novel, but with more 3D. I think that games have gotten really good recently. There are some mini games that literally have like you're in her assassin outfit and like
I'm a your stan.
Of course. But yeah, it looks good. I mean, it's coming in 2024.
Cute. It's all gonna be on the Nintendo Switch. Yay!
Yep. Switch, PS5, PS4, and Steam. We actually got a lot of anime this week. We got a release date for Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. So
Clash or Class?
Clash.
Okay.
I believe. Is it Curse Clash? Yes.
Okay.
So
they're students.
This trailer at first is just kind of a combination of the 2 trailers that they came out with last week and the week before, showing the kind of battle system. But this answers, I brought this specifically because it specifically answers a question that I had last week of like, they keep showing them all battling each other. And I'm just like, so is this just like Street Fighter or what? But then later on, they show that, no, you can set up fights with curses. There's going to be a whole story. They're doing the thing that they always do, where like they're just following the story of season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, where you can just play those things, and then they put little stills from the anime and stuff in between, as well as Zero. So yeah, it goes from Curse Room Must Die, Origin. Yep. Wait, do you watch Jujutsu Kaisen as well?
Yes.
I've been trying to find somebody to talk to about this goddamn show. It was you. You were the one.
Yes. Gimme.
Have you been watching season 2?
I am not caught up on season 2.
Okay.
So
this is good. Ooh, it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
I love it.
But yeah, you can even see, if you watch the show, you can see like what the temporary domain that what's his face makes, and like fighting the womb curse guys. So yeah, it looks like it's actually going to have a whole bunch of stuff, which is good because up until now they've just showed them fighting each other and punching each other.
Hi, Archer. So. Archer wants walkies, Jeff.
He does. That's all right. We're almost done. We've only got about 20 minutes left, and he can wait. Yeah. I know he can. So yeah. As well, we also got a release date of February 2nd of 2024. So.
Who's your favorite character?
I always have a hard time with that sort of thing. I do like...
Or which dynamics are you very fond of? If not like one singular character, but which friendships are you like, I like that friendship or that dynamic?
I have never laughed harder when Itadori Yuji and Todo, when he decides that he's his best friend, and he has that Space Out moment where he's like imagining them going to high school and he gets turned down by the girl and he's like, let's go out for ramen. Yes, making up this backstory
like,
because he
I just met you.
He asks him what kind of women he likes and he's like, I don't know, tall women with big asses. And then he like starts weeping.
Correct answer.
Yes, starts weeping, decides he's his best friend, and within like 20 minutes, they're defeating one of the most powerful curses in the entire show.
Because they teamed up.
Because they teamed up with the boogie woogie like swap, and the Black Flash stuff is all like really good. I'll go back and just watch that one part over and over again.
It's so fun.
I like a lot of the other characters, but that's the best thing I've seen in the show so far. That, and whenever any curse decides that it wants to go inside of Itadori Yuji and then finds Sukuna in there.
And they're like, oh, fuck.
Who's just like,
I've made a dire mistake.
if you come back here, if you ever try this, I will destroy you.
Yeah.
You need to leave this one time.
You don't come in my house. Yeah. Anyways, yes, I do watch.
Did you watch the movie, Zero?
Yes.
It was also very good.
Yes, I watched that after season 1.
So good.
And before season 2.
Things that are not so good. We got a trailer for One Punch Man, the new One Punch Man game that's coming out.
You not a fan of One Punch Man? I started it. I haven't finished it.
Oh, I fucking love One Punch Man.
Yeah.
But
bad news.
The problem is that this is just like, it's just like season 1 of One Punch Man, which is now like 8 or 9 years old. Like,
well, what's wrong with that? Like, we just watched a trailer for fucking Jujutsu Kaisen, which has like just the first season on it and some other stuff too. But you know what I mean? Same basic concept, just different anime.
Yeah. The problem is that this is like, I don't know. Like, okay.
Are you saying too little, too late?
What makes me sad about this?
Prescient?
What makes me sad about this is that this just looks like an arena fighter. And it's for season 1 of One Punch Man. And if they're going to sell me One Punch Man games, I want them to continue making One Punch Man anime, even if season 2 wasn't any good. I want more One Punch Mans. I know that it's a manga that's been going on for a million years.
Personal caveats from Jeff here for an anime video game to be valid.
It also looks like garbage to me.
Okay.
You fight Carnage Kabuto with Atomic Samurai. That didn't happen. I don't. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, they have a problem with One Punch Man because what they should make. Well, also this is going to be on phones and PC, which I'm like, well, I'm not a big fan of that.
Okay.
But if you want to make a One Punch Man game, it has to be a comedy. Because the show is a comedy. And they keep being like, but don't you want to go to the world of One Punch Man and fight monsters? And I'm like, no. The whole concept is that this guy keeps killing everybody with one punch. And that's great. And that's hilarious.
It should be like a VR game where you can actually punch the air. Like, that's the way you go with that.
Yes.
You make it an actual punching game.
I agree.
That would be fun.
Anyway, their pre-registration is open for the One Punch Man World game. And I think it looks bad.
Okay.
We got a 4-minute intro for the DLC for Tales of Arise that's coming out. This is such a weird thing because Tales of Arise came out like 2 or 3 years ago, and now they're putting out DLC for it, which is like way past the normal time frame for DLC.
More like coattails of Arise. Am I right? So many coattails.
From the look of here, it seems like this is definitely DLC where like you must have played the game in order to understand what the hell they're talking about, because this is a really complicated JRPG that I think it's a great one. I played all the way through it. It was a little long, but like I got through it.
Like, I haven't played a complicated JRPG game.
Yeah.
Just like complicated plot, and I just play it anyways, you know, because it looks pretty.
Yeah. I guess I mean
Kingdom Hearts.
I guess what I'm saying is that if you haven't played Tales of Arise, maybe play that first before playing this really meaty expansion that takes place like 20 years after the end of that story. Okay. So because the game is good and you probably like it.
The costuming looks cool.
Yep. They've got really good characters. They're very fun. They've got a lot of like personality. They interact really well together. It looks like they're bringing back kind of all of the characters from the previous game.
Character designs reminding me a bit of Fire Emblem.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
A little bit.
Yep. There's also a big new dungeon.
Nice.
And all kinds of new quests. And yeah, it's just good stuff.
Tales of Arise.
The one thing I think is a little weird, though, is that they have like everybody forgets that JRPGs a lot of times will end up with these like they just will sell you 1 billion skins. And so the Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn Ultimate Edition full game plus expansion download comes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and change different like skin outfits.
Yeah,
just
costumes.
outfits.
Lots of costume choices.
Yeah. So if you want to play the game as a beach bum or like with school uniforms, which it makes no sense in this game,
Yeah.
you could totally do that.
Huh.
So, but yep, good stuff. Let's see. We got a launch trailer for Lords of the Fallen.
Okay.
I'm really interested to check this one out. It's kind of Lords of the Fallen was one of the first kind of like Souls-like games that came out. It wasn't great, but it was fine. And then they had a sequel, and now this is like kind of a reboot.
What was the sequel?
I think it's Lords of the Fallen 2.
Oh, okay. Just called that. Okay.
I don't really remember. I could be imagining that. But this one looks really interesting to me because it's got a whole like dual world thing. Kind of like, you remember when we played that horror game with that lady where there was like the 2 worlds?
Yeah, it was reminding me of that. I was like, is this in the same vein as that? But no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where there's like the world of the living and then there's the world of the dead, and you can kind of go back and forth between them, and there's different challenges and fights depending on which one you go to.
I mean, wow. Okay, yeah, that's cool. The world building in this and the backgrounds and settings
the style.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The designs of the different like monsters and demons and stuff.
Yes, this is scratching some itches.
Yep, looks good. I think it looks really good. I'm curious to know if they're able to kind of pull it off. Like, I know that a lot of people really like the Liza P that came out, but I don't know if that game's going to have like really long legs or the Souls-like genre is difficult because, or I don't know, it's difficult for me because I'm very choosy.
You never.
I don't know. I'm gonna die someday. I don't want to spend my time on mediocre games. Yeah,
I get you.
So, but yeah, it looks pretty cool.
It does look cool. I concede.
Kind of a cross between like Elden Ring and Bloodborne, maybe. Where you got all this character design, this kind of medieval stuff, but then also a lot of like weird, spooky looking junk. So,
I like this giant hand.
Yep.
Some sort of zombie horse.
Stab that hand.
Get it.
So, yep. And that's out this week. So, actually, that'll be out by the time you hear this podcast. The trailer comes out tomorrow as the day we're recording. We got a new trailer for RoboCop Rogue City. It's also coming out in like 2 weeks.
RoboCop?
Yep. So, this is being made by the company that made a Terminator game that was very well received.
Okay.
Came out a little while back.
Oh, hell yeah.
They've got RoboCop. They've got Lewis. They do a pretty good job. They actually came out with a demo, and it's very like kind of slow and methodical and like whoosh, whoosh. I think you're just like mowing down people with giant geysers of blood coming out of them.
Yeah, this is pretty fun looking.
This one shows there's a huge upgrade system, and that a lot of your like upgrade points will be based on the rating that you get from missions, which will be based on how well you carry out, serve the public trust, protect the innocent, and uphold the law objectives. But that there's like all these kind of crazy upgrades you can get. Also, there's this lady in here that looks like Rosa Diaz is in Rogue City.
Oh, man.
It's not her, but it just kind of looks like her very briefly.
It's like, I just met this RoboCop, but if anything happens to him, I will kill everyone and myself in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally Rosa.
So
Love it.
I checked out the demo for it. I thought about putting it on the channel, but the game itself comes out in like 3 months. But it's also being published by Nacon, but I'm still going to play it. So boo.
That looks really cool. I feel like if that came out in like the 90s, like or 80s, people would have lost their goddamn minds.
Well, one of the big things, right, is that like, has there ever been a really good RoboCop game? And it's like not kind of an arcade game, a little bit, but like not really. And like, is RoboCop a property that would make a good video game? Well, hell yeah, it is. He fucking stomps around and shoots criminals with a giant gun. Sure. So, also, I was really happy when I played the demo, and they showed it in previous, but the fact that Ann Lewis is in the game, blowing bubbles, looking just like she did in the RoboCop movie, and I'm just like, yay!
Can we shoot guys in the dick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Good.
There's a 5-minute trailer that came out for Star Trek Infinite, which is a big 4X Star Trek game that is coming out like later this month.
I think this one's probably a one for Chris Cox.
Maybe. I'm not any good at these games. They're too slow and so I'm really torn because on the one hand, I really like Star Trek, but on the other hand, these types of games usually I just lose interest in them.
What type of game is it, kind of, really?
It's called 4X.
4X. Oh, okay.
So it's like exploration and base building, and like you're dealing with a whole quadrant of space.
I thought you liked space simulator stuff.
I like space simulators, but this is tactics. So it's like
this is like
I gotta set the mining on this one planet so I can build more starships at the space station.
Star Trek Risk.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Except that like you do get to fly around, and apparently there's a lot of like little pre-baked scenarios that kind of come from the show, and
getting a little bit of Civ, getting a little bit of Risk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but in space. So yeah, but it looks like they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not sure whether it's the kind of game that I really want to play.
Yeah, if it's your flavor.
On the other hand, the four factions are Starfleet, the Klingons, the Romulans, and the Cardassians.
Ooh.
And I really would like to just eradicate the Cardassians. Like I don't care about what happens to anybody else.
Therapy? Is this therapy? Video game therapy?
Those guys go to hell. Especially if they got Gul Dukat with them, then they can really go to hell. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Like there's a whole little 5-minute primer that they put online about how to play the game. And it looks good.
But you're just like, maybe not your style. That's okay.
I may play it. I think I'm gonna have to try playing it and then see if it's something that would do well with a video on RageSelect.
Sure.
Because if it's just spreadsheets, the game, I don't know that anybody really wants to watch that. So.
Oh, come on, spreadsheets.
Here's a weird one. Flashback 2 got an official story trailer. So Flashback was an old Sega Genesis game. I have been talking nothing but mad shit about this for a long time because one, they already made a sequel to Flashback called Darker Than Black that came out in like 1995 or something. And two, I think this game looks like absolute garbage. But
tell us how you really feel, Jeff. You're like, that's what this is, podcast and Channels 4.
But this had more story kind of hooks than the previous ones, which made me a little bit more interested. I do not like this kind of motion comic aesthetic that they're using for what appears to be like the cutscenes, and I still think that the weird 2.5D like gameplay doesn't look super great. And this guy looks way too young to be the guy from the first one, even though it could be somebody else. But I don't know. I don't like this, that it looks like you can run like in 3 dimensions, but the camera is like side scrolling. And it just seems like, why not just make it a side scroller if that's what you're doing?
Yeah, the 2 point, but they're doing the...
As opposed to having to fire back into the old thing. I don't know. They've been trying to cash in on the Flashback name for a long time, and I feel like they're going to try it again. And I'd be willing to bet it's still going to be garbage, but this was less garbage. Oh, that's the game that somebody told me to go play.
What, Dino Ranch?
Yeah, somebody insultingly told me to go play Dino Ranch Ride to the Rescue.
Aw.
Because I'm such a plebeian. Yeah, because I liked...
you have such low standards, and you aren't picky at all.
I think it was you and I were playing... It was like we were playing like a Resident Evil style game of like years ago.
Yeah.
And someone's like, well, if you like that, then you should go play Dino Rescue. Like, kind of just if your standards are so low, why don't you go play Dino Rescue?
Was it the one where, like, that... shit.
Look at like a warehouse.
Yeah, we were stuck in a warehouse, and the one chick had, like, almost polygon boobies.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes, that one.
We liked that. I think we just had fun playing it. I don't think we necessarily thought it was a good game. We're just like... We were just having a laugh. Okay, buddy.
I'm not sure.
Whatever.
YouTube comments, I mostly ignore them these days.
Yeah, smart.
And last, we're going to skip that one. Last but not least, well, actually not last because we still have a few more. Super 56 came out. For anybody that's got a PC, Super 56 is a series of WarioWare style mini games that all only get played with one button.
Okay.
If you are interested in seeing more, Amanda and I played it on patreon.com/RageSelect.
It looks bonkers and fun.
It is, and it was. Yeah, and it's also got this weird meta plot where apparently you're playing this game in hell for some demons, and then there's like this jackass Frankenstein that keeps taunting your demon friends on how bad you are at this video game, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna get that Jerry Frankenstein. It's very strange.
Oh wow, this is
very strange.
This is a game you play on some sort of substances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that it's only one button. Every mini game is only one button to play. So
yeah, that makes it super easy.
Yep.
Anybody can play in any sort of level of sobriety.
It's also like $6 or $7 on Steam. So.
Super accessible.
There you go. Let's see.
Super 56.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder is coming out. Nintendo put a little thing on Twitter that was Princess Peach and Bowser, and Bowser's going to give her a flower.
Aww.
And then the big elephant power-up comes along, and Princess Peach turns into a big, thick elephant lady.
And
then
still into
Bowser
it.
is stunned, and he like runs away off screen and then comes back with even more flowers.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, it's so cute.
And his eyes get way bigger when that happens. So
I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
That's precious.
Nintendo, you know what you're doing. Don't pretend like you don't know what you're doing. Put the big elephant Princess Peach on the internet. You know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Thick thighs save lives.
Yep.
What she got in that trunk, Jeff?
I don't know. Oh, I know. I saw an article with the headline, Nintendo reveals Bowser likes them thick. And I was like, all right, sure.
Cool.
We also got the full release of the Lego Animal Crossing sets that are coming out.
Oh, that's cute.
Yep. There's going to be 4 of them.
Wait. So they're Lego Animal Crossing sets. This is not a Lego skinned Animal Crossing game?
No, this is a commercial for physical Lego sets that are going to come out.
Gotcha.
So, there's 4 of them. They range from $15 to $75.
Damn.
Yeah. But hey, you know what?
Fucking Tom Nook.
Yep. You get the Nook shop.
Has he been hanging out with John from Unity? Sorry.
Tom Nook, you son of a bitch. Yeah, they showed that, what is it? There's 5 of them. There's like...
Tom Nook, bleed me for all I got.
There's the Nook store along with the kind of a default house.
Yeah, Tom Nook store. It's just a front for his like drug cartel.
There's another house. This one has a little Isabella.
It's got a bunch of possums like hiding drugs in their pouches.
There's one that's like a dock.
Sorry, I'm starting my own lore over here.
I know. I like this one with the guy with the you can pole vault over the rivers.
I mean, how else do you get over a river, Jeff?
I mean, build a bridge.
No, pole vault, Jeff.
Pole vault. And this one that's like a birthday themed one for the guy horse.
Oh, the tree looks like cotton candy.
Yep. So yeah,
those are precious.
Go check them out.
I have friends who will totally buy those.
All right, let's get through the rest of these and wrap it up.
Okay.
The new, just everybody's FYI, Silent Hill Ascension begins October 31st, which is the new weird, like, it's not a game, it's like an interactive movie that you watch on Twitch, and then you vote on what happens in it.
Okay, so it's a choose your own adventure interactive story.
Right, but then the thing is that whoever gets the whatever direction that the thing goes in that gets the most votes is now considered canon. So whenever you re-watch it, it's
Jeff, the gamers need to unionize and refuse to vote.
Well,
we will not choose on a Silent Hill canon.
One of this is that one of the news stories here was that they put microtransactions. Well, sort of. They put like you can buy stuff into this, and when they were asked like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's like Twitch emotes and cheers and stuff like that. So.
What are you going to cheer at in Silent Hill? It's like the emotes in Silent Hill should be shudders in fear.
Yep.
Pisses self.
Yep. I don't know.
Cries for mommy.
I think that this is one of those things where somebody put together a bunch of corporate buzzwords and then they decided to make it, and like it sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, it does.
You know Silent Hill, that game you like? What if you just watched it?
We had the movies. You know we had movies, right?
Oh no, but now you can interact with it when Twitch chat. When the vote comes, you can decide whether you want the person to go left or right. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Okay, here's some good news. Dead Island 2 is finally getting some DLC.
Fun.
So next month you'll be able to go up against a cult out of Malibu. I really liked Dead Island 2 when it came out earlier this year. We have very little other information outside of what I just said, but
Ooh, these screenshots look nice.
yep.
What we do have looks cool.
Some kind of crazy, weird zombie cult.
Hell yeah.
Can't wait. Let's see. Dredge.
Yeah. I love Dredge.
As I said before, sold 1 million copies since launch. So,
Yeah.
see, this is funny because I put this one at the very end, and I thought that it would be kind of interesting to be like, so if the video game industry is in such dire fucking straits, then how is it that just, an indie game developer with a small team and a good idea can sell 1 million $20 copies of Dredge, and you guys are like, no, charge them $40 for Battle Pass.
Hey, Jeff, so does Dredge have like $40 skins?
Nope.
Does it have microtransactions?
Nope.
Gee, we might be onto something there.
Yep. In fact, they just announced a free expansion November 16th.
Free expansion, you
that puts
say?
a bunch of icy northern climbs in the game.
Huh.
Yep.
That's weird.
The bad news is that they were making full-on story DLC called the Iron Ring, and it's been delayed from last quarter of this year to sometime in 2024. So,
Hey, they're a small team. Give them all the time they need.
absolutely.
We'll be here.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Let's see. Liza P, mentioned earlier, is probably also getting some DLC. This comes from a LinkedIn, like a job post, which a lot of times you have to describe what you're trying to hire somebody to do.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you give away that you're going to be developing a thing.
Sure.
So in this case, the job was listed for Liza P, DLC planned for production soon. Which, given the fact that Liza P seems like it's done very well,
Yeah.
Pinocchio-based Bloodborne, who would have guessed?
Yeah. People like steampunk stuff.
Yep, not entirely.
We like guys in dapper brocade vests.
Very true. Twinkie Pinocchios. Also, Dave the Diver got an update.
I've heard great things about it. That's also on my list.
Oh, it's so good.
It looks so fun.
It's so good.
God, I'll have to play it then. Okay.
There's a bunch of other stuff in here that you can get. There's a lobster party. There's some new NPCs where if you feed them enough sushi that they like, they'll come back and sell you rare stuff. But the most important thing is that there was a whole farming mini game where you could farm vegetables.
Cool.
And then, but every day you had to go and water them, and then when they were done, you had to go to each one and pick,
Yep.
and then put all the carrots in, and then do it.
That's
Now
how
you can
gardening
just-
works, Jeff.
Well, but now you can just pay a guy to do it for you.
Oh.
So you don't have to like stop diving in order to go do what was ostensibly kind of more of a chore than a mini game. So,
Okay.
but yeah, Dave the Diver has done a bunch of different updates, and it fucking rules, and you should totally play it. Okay, for you, Tessa,
Yes.
it appears The Last of Us 2 might be getting a PS5 remaster.
Okay.
So,
I love Last of Us and Last of Us 2, but I feel like too soon.
yeah, maybe. I mean, Naughty Dog was also one of the companies that laid off some people last week, but it appears that they're okay. So when Last of Us 2 came out for the PS4, then they put out a patch when it came on the PS5 to make it compatible with the PS5. Apparently, oh no, this is the LinkedIn one where they were talking about having developers responsible for overseeing the production of outsourced environment, art assets, weapons, and interactive props. So basically, like getting HD versions of all that stuff, or more up-res versions of those assets into the game for a native PS5 version of the game. So,
we do like to kind of like occasionally complain or grouse about like, whoa, they're already doing a remaster of this game that's already been around not too long. In the same breath, they are laying people off. I'm like, I guess if they can give people like work to do in the meantime, and they get to learn how to up-res a game, and then if there are people that play the game that would like this shinier version, then I mean, I guess sure, go for it. I mean, it can seem a bit like a cash grab depending.
yeah.
But we're also like, oh man, they just laid off like 800 people. Well, this remaster is giving people jobs, so I don't know.
Yeah, except for the fact that it appears that instead of doing this internally, they're outsourcing it to a third-party company.
Oh, so no, they're not. Okay, so they're not keeping on their own people. They're getting other. Okay, never mind. Well then, I missed the point.
I mean, I feel like the last time you and I did the podcast was like like a half a year ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And I feel like after this, you're going to need another 6 months before you're ready for the bummer parade.
Oh my God.
Okay. Here is a baker in California that created a bread sculpture of a clicker from The Last of Us.
That just looks like a bunch of crumbs.
It's
okay. That's better. That's better. The first picture is too close, and I couldn't really.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a mother and daughter team in California that does like they made like a bread Han Solo in carbonite and then
that's
this year.
fun. Okay, yeah, I can see it better now. Yeah, that first picture I was like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah, they made a clicker from The Last of Us, as well as a bunch of fungus by baking bread around like balloons and then popping the balloons. And
I couldn't eat it. I couldn't eat that bread.
Yeah. Oh no. It took them they said that it took them 400 hours to do.
Oh, so parts of it are going to be stale then.
So yeah, you don't want to eat it. Like it's more just like
art.
Well, we run a bakery, so if we're going to make something, we're going to make it out of bread. So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty nifty. Here's something else that I thought was really funny. There is a Crab Souls-like called Another Crab's Treasure that is coming out in at some point. I forget. But it's like a Souls game where you play as a little crab and you're fighting other crustaceans and stuff.
Oh, I like his little pinchers going. When he backs up, he's going.
Yep.
This is making me think of that webbed game when we played that cute little spider and he scampered around and he danced.
Yep.
I've been watching more videos of jumping spiders since we played that game, and I'm like, they're kind of cute.
I don't like them.
Jumping spiders are cute. They're so precious, and they have personality, and they're not aggressive. They're little cuties.
I don't like them. Too many legs, too many eyes. Anyway, so this game is bucking the trend of a lot of Souls games by putting in kind of accessibility options that you can use to make the game easier if you like, including extra durability, more damage. But then people have been playing the demo and they've showed that there is a thing that says "Give Krill a gun." And apparently, if you turn that on, this tiny crab
has a gun.
And that gun is the size of a regular gun. It is a gigantic gun, and if you use it, it just one-shots anything in the game.
Oh, this is it's so good. It's so silly. Oh, it's a shell.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's his shell on his back, and then he just pulls it out and shoots people with it.
Oh my God, this is kind of making me think of what was that that deer simulator where you could have like the guns on his antlers.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
There's also another one that I think if you like that, there's a game called Squirrel with a Gun that is in development that I think you would like. So.
I think you showed me the trailer for that a few months back or something.
But yeah, good on you. Sure.
Okay, thanks for saving the funny things at the end, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, we always end with some fun stuff. Last but not least, if you are into Stardew Valley, apparently Stardew Valley is doing they're doing a tour with chamber musicians to play the music from Stardew Valley, like in person. That
sounds lovely.
Yeah, which sounds like a real chill ass time.
Yeah, that sounds like a date night.
Unfortunately, the dates are like if you look at it, it's like New York, Chicago. Los Angeles, Boston, Philly, New York, Seattle, Chicago, St. Louis, and then Toronto, Montreal, Melbourne, Sydney, London, Seoul, and Bangkok. So
nowhere in Texas at all.
Nowhere even near the southern United States. I can't blame you. But still, it would be nice. And that's it. We only went 15 minutes over.
You're like, that's it? That was all?
That was all.
Just all of that?
I do that every single week, Tessa.
Oh, Jeff. No.
Now you might want to understand why I'm so grumpy now.
I 100% get it now.
Yep. Not just that, but I spent 3 hours last night getting all of those stories and putting them in a specific order and reading them. So, before we wrap it up, Tessa, where can people find you? We're out over here. Riding on the misery train.
Toot, toot. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Tessa Morrison, all one word. You can follow me and see all my cosplay and fiber art shenanigans. I have a art show coming up at Guzu Gallery here in December, and it is let's see, I can't use the trademark term, but small animals that you pit against each other that previously were chilling inside of a red and white ball.
So some kind of monster that might fit inside of
Your
like a pocket.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
theoretically put it inside of a pouch or something on your clothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Where small things go.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's going to be the theme of the art show at Guzu Gallery in December. So
Cool.
if you like training small animals to fight each other, please don't come, because I don't want dog fighter people to show up to this art show.
I heard there's animals fighting in here. Where are they at?
No, we will not be doing that at this show. So yeah, December. That should be a fun, based off of a video game and not real events,
Sure.
art show. And yeah, give me a follow on the Instagrams. I'm around.
There you go. And Tessa, I would just say it seems like I've got a lot of people have canceled their Patreon, but I'm not sure, because Patreon changed their Patreon used to have a thing where when somebody like they would give you an estimated like how much estimated you went up or down each month, and they eliminated that. So now they just tell you people canceled, and a bunch of people seem to have canceled. I can't tell if that's going to affect the bottom line, but hey, this is the end of the podcast. You got all the way here. Chances are you're a fan of this channel. If you're a fan of this channel and you're not already a patron, patreon.com/RageSelect. Kick us in some bucks. Come to the Discord server. Watch bonus videos. John and I just finished all of Elden Ring, so you can watch all of Elden Ring is now done.
Where else are you going to get your hamster nipple content?
That's right. Well, you can watch Tessa and I play all of Resident Evil Village if you like.
Or
There's all that on there too.
the quarry?
Or the quarry.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yep. Check it out. And yeah. All right, I'm stopping at the station. Everybody off the train. Go live your life. Go outside in the sun and touch a dog. Just leave.
I'm allergic. I can't. But okay.
Well, you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Okay.
Everybody get off my train.
Boop, boop.